Wantian laughed out loud. I guess it must be very fun, right? His arms are numb, his fists are cracked, and he is in extreme pain. Wantian laughed out loud. I guess it must be very fun, right? His arms are numb, his fists are cracked, and he is in extreme pain. This is my blood C-sex blood C diagrams. If you have the guts, come at me. We'll wait here for you to kill us. Ha ha ha. Wantian couldn't help but laugh loudly when he saw Long Fei spurting blood from the shock. Upon seeing this, the soul demons and the others all started to laugh complacently. Brother Cho, it seems like you are the best. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, didn't you want to take revenge for the female disciples of Evil Sound Sect? Come on. Those female disciples are all lively and full of life. All of them have died miserable deaths. This must be a great feeling, right? I really admire Inu. He tore apart those girls' clothes piece by piece. It was simply too satisfying. Ha! At first they didn't know. Now that the blood C diagrams actually had the power of rebound, Long Fei was simply unable to endure it. In that case, then they would be safe. Naturally, he was very proud of it. Blood C diagrams, demon formation. Its structure was different from the dragon-locked tactical method, absolute murder array, and the sound trap formation. Long Fei was still only at the yellow level. It was almost impossible for him to find the blood C diagrams core in a short amount of time. However, he was a man who liked simple and crude things. You can't break it with your fist, right? Fine. Change it to something else. Long Fei summoned his dragon salyer. Clenching his fists tightly, he dropped down from the sky, and the power in his arms surged. Roar! The shadow of a blood dragon burst out, forming a huge blood light, and hacked down heavily. Crack! A bloody bolt of lightning struck down. Rumble! The faces of the four sect masters trembled slightly, shaken by Long Fei's blood dragon's rage. Slash. How many secret techniques does this kid train? The blade in his hand should be Supreme Artifact's dragon salyer, right? Rumble. The saber chopped down. Wantian immediately laughed out loud and said, It's useless. It was also at this time. The dragon salyer exploded. It was completely unable to bear the anaphasic force on the array, and with the opening of the tiger's mouth, blood started to drip out. Long Fei immediately recalled the dragon salyer, and if he did not retract the sword, it would fly out of his hands. Unwell, that kind of antiphasic force quickly rushed into his heart from the dragon salyer, but Long Fei was unable to endure it any longer. The greater the power, the stronger the anaphasic force. F***CK. Long Fei cursed in his heart. However, Wantian was laughing extremely happily. He flew to the bottom of the blood C diagrams, looked at Long Fei, who had a pained expression, and said proudly, Long Fei, you're enjoying yourself. Ha ha ha. Blood C diagrams. The stronger the power, the stronger the anaphasic force. It's useless no matter how many divine skills you have. Looking at Long Fei's painful expression, the four sect masters all started laughing. All of them landed on the ground in midair to look at Long Fei. The only difference between them was the blood-red halo, which prevented Long Fei from killing them. Evil Sound Sect's female disciples are so awesome. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, do you want to take revenge for them? Come on. If you have the guts, then come kill me. Ha ha ha. He was extremely proud and arrogant. Even Sidu Yao was not able to deal with him, but this blood C diagrams made Long Fei continuously spurt blood, which made them even more excited. Can't break it? Long Fei did not lose his reason just because of the four sect masters' ridicule. He said in his heart, the highest realm of formations should also be a crushing defeat, right? As long as my strength is strong enough, I can break through 10,000 arrays in one go. My strength. Huff. Long Fei slowly let out a breath of turbid air, and an impressive move appeared in his mind. With a move of the idea, he released his strong comprehension ability, multiple shadows. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. For figures descended. Long Fei frowned. Can you give me more clones? The idea moved again. Ding. Fail. He was unable to comprehend any more clones. For his fine. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 4 clones stood at 4 different positions. Long Fei moved. 3-rate peerless technique. Buzz, buzz, buzz. With power exploding out one after another. Long Fei became furious and roared deeply. Let's see just how strong the defense of this formation is. Blood Dragon's fury. Roar, roar. 4 blood dragon shadows shot out, soaring into the sky. Chiu Wantian frowned. He could not help but be worried. Soul Demon's face immediately paled. Another god-level skill that we've never seen before. Is this brat even human? Is this another secret technique from the god's devil ancient case? Chi Mei was worried. Brother Cho, can the array formation withstand it? Chiu Wantian was also a little lacking in confidence and muttered, It should be possible. They were a little confused when they saw Long Fei releasing one type of secret technique after another that they had never seen before. Even if they were the leaders of the 8 demon sect, they had cultivated 1 or 2 divine level cultivation techniques. Moreover, taking out holy artifact at any time, how could he let them live? The shadow clones moved in unison. The 4 blood dragon raging slashes came slashing down. Crack, crack, for explosive sounds rang. It was also at this moment. The blood sea diagrams trembled violently, swaying as though it could not hold on for much longer. Crack, crack, crack. The power unleashed by the 4 attacks of his clone was simply too great. Chiu Wantian's heart was cold. However, the blood sea diagrams did not shatter. Instead, the 3 shadow clones turned into a ball of white smoke and disappeared from the shock of the anaphasic force, while Long Fei himself spat out blood as well. It was as if his body was going to be torn apart. Ha 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 ha! Chiu Wantian's nervous heart instantly tensed up as he laughed sinisterly. I can't break it. Ha ha ha! Long Fei, you cannot break the blood sea diagrams. Ha ha ha! The boulder in his heart fell as he let out a long breath. The soul demon muttered. His heart disease almost scared him out of his wits. This is too scary. When the 4 blood dragons slashed down, they were so scared that they almost peed their pants. However, seeing that the blood sea diagrams was undamaged, they immediately became excited again. Long Fei, do you have the guts to come? Come kill me. Ha ha ha. You little bastard, are you satisfied? Come on. Ha ha ha. No matter how arrogant he is. Ha ha ha. Table of contents. The 4 of them laughed with incomparable arrogance and pride. The anger in Long Fei's heart raged, but his heart was still incomparably calm. If this continues, Yan Huang Ancestor's voice suddenly came over and said, Kid, this array formation's breaking power lies in power. This power lies in one point. Can you focus your power on a tiny thing? Chapter 48_19/2356719. A little. Long Fei frowned. How thin is it? Yan Huang Ancestor said, the finer, the better. It's best if it's the size of a finger. A little the size of a finger. It was very difficult to concentrate all of one's strength on this point. It was a control of the difficulty of strength. Sword chi, saber chi, fist, the range of these attacks were all over the size of a finger, the Yan Huang Ancestor said. if we can't find the formation aperture, this is the only way to break through the Blood Sea formation. He definitely wouldn't be able to find the formation aperture. This was the only way, but how was he going to do it? Long Fei's control of power had not reached the level of being able to move as he wished. Furthermore, it was simply too difficult to transform all of his strength into the size of a finger. Even a peak war emperor cultivator would not be able to do it. Long Fei's brows tightly knitted together as his mind crazily spun. At this moment, Qiu Wantian laughed loudly. "Trash, why did you stop? And then we'll break the formation." Ha ha ha. He must have been scared silly. The Blood Sea diagrams has been around for tens of thousands of years. How could a trash like him break it? Kid, aren't you very arrogant? It's not that we want to massacre the 7 great demon sections. Come on, come F*** king. Ha ha. The 4 sect masters hooted like 4 shrews. It was incredibly annoying. Long Fei suppressed his anger in his heart, but his mind was still thinking nonstop. How do I concentrate? How do I do it? Mountain hit fist? The divine power in his right arm? No way. Dragon salure technique? No. Toting skill? No. He checked all the skills and found that none of the skills he had cultivated had the ability to concentrate his energy. Can I use the Wolf God Spear? I don't care. Long Fei moved his body and sent a sound transmission to Xiao Bai, come over here for a moment. Xiao Bai, Ice and Fire, as well as the Blood Corpse ancestor, were constantly killing Nantian sect's disciples. The system's notification sound in Long Fei's mind never stopped. Xiao Bai immediately replied, "Understood." Roar. Xiao Bai soared into the sky, and in the blink of an eye, he landed beside Long Fei. Long Fei said, "Use your Wolf God's lance and attack the array to take a look." "Yes, sir." Without any hesitation, the idea sank, and the shadow of the Wolf God appeared in the sky. The sky cracked, and the Wolf God's lance came smashing down. Rumble. The Blood Sea diagrams shook again, but did not break. Xiao Bai's body sank, and he almost fell down. He coughed out a mouthful of blood, looking extremely pained and dissatisfied as he said, F***CK. Xiao Bai was enraged. "I don't believe that I can't destroy you." Just as he was about to unleash his second Wolf God's lance, he was stopped by Long Fei, who said, "It's useless. Your Wolf God's lance is too thick." Xiao Bai was suspicious. "Is it good or not?" "Master, please give me one more chance. I will definitely destroy him." He was displeased, very displeased. When the Wolf God's lance descended, the array formation did not break, but instead, he suffered internal injuries. Long Fei said, "No need, you can go back and continue killing, just increase the speed by a bit. I'm still a bit away from breaking through. Quickly." Xiao Bai flew away. They chased after those Nantian sect disciples even more crazily than usual. Seeing Xiao Bai flying away in a sorry state, Qiu Wantian laughed wildly once again and said, "Come, trash, come again. There's no other way, right? You want to destroy my Blood Sea sect. Long Fei, who do you think you are? The reincarnation of the Sky Demon? Ha ha ha. Sky Demon is nothing. It's been tens of thousands of years, and you're still going to be a reincarnated Sky Demon or your grandmother's leg, and you still want us to submit to you? Humph, why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? What qualifications do you have to become the Supreme Demon Lord?" Qiu Wantian shouted. The soul demons and the others also began to laugh happily. They used to be worried, but now they no longer had to worry. Long Fei was helpless against the Blood Sea diagrams. Furthermore, Chimei said slightly, "Brother Cho, Long Fei has been injured by the backlash twice. As long as we kill our way out, we'll definitely be able to kill him." Qiu Wantian frowned. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, The soul demon immediately said, "No, Long Fei is too cunning. Maybe he will just wait for us to go up and kill him. We are under the blood sea diagrams, so there's no need to worry. If Long Fei isn't Nantion's sect, he wouldn't even be able to surround us." The other sect master also said, "I also agree with Brother Soul Devil's suggestion. We don't need to go out. Long Fei has to break the array if he wants to kill us. He will play himself to death. Why should we be afraid?" Chi Mei frowned and said, "The four of us are working together, so why should we be afraid of him?" "Humph! Brother Chi Mei, you went out to fight your strange powers in the mountain sea to the death. Didn't you hide in the Blood Sea sect because you were afraid?" Soul Demon laughed disdainfully. The giant axe in Chi Mei's hand suddenly shook, his face filled with anger. Chiu Wantian immediately sat up and said, "Is there a need for your brother to be angry over this? Brother Chi Mei, why don't we let Long Fei attack a few more times and let his injuries get worse? When the time comes, we can kill our way out together and capture Long Fei for sure." Chi Mei looked at the blood sea diagrams above his head and muttered, "I'm worried that the formation can't handle it. Long Fei is too strong." "Humph! I knew you were afraid of death." The soul demon ridiculed and said slightly, "You can just stay in peace under this blood sea diagrams. You definitely won't die." And then there was Long Fei. He kept trying to think of something, from the skill manuals to the holy artifacts. He thought about them one by one. Finally, his gaze landed on a blood-red knife. His eyes flickered as he exclaimed in excitement, "Ha ha! I got it! Draw slasher! Little Lee's flying daggers." Then, Long Fei's mind kept on thinking and deducing, as scenes and scenes of Li Xiu and Huan, using Little Lee's flying daggers, appeared in his mind, using qi to control the blade. Force, air, knife, buzz. The draw slasher flew out, floating beside Long Fei. It was trembling and swaying. Long Fei's true qi was still unable to stabilize it parallel to side. Hoo. Long Fei's comprehension power surged crazily. 200% of his comprehension power exploded forth. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The draw slasher continued to circle around his body like a blood spirit. The draw slasher became more and more stable. Finally, Long Fei was enraged and opened his eyes wide. The draw slasher quietly floated in midair. At this time, Long Fei did not activate any true qi. Long Fei stared at the corner of Chiu Wantian's mouth and laughed coldly. "Are you proud of yourself? Excited, right? You can't break this blood sea diagrams of yours, right?" Ha ha. Once he said that, the aura around Long Fei's body exploded, and he bellowed, "Shao Li, flying berserker blade." Schwa. Chapter 5. Thank you for your hee support, and thank you for the firepower of your many brothers. Everyone hold on. C number 1 will definitely go berserk. 8_8419/2356720. It takes a lot of energy to learn these skills. It takes a lot of energy to learn these skills. The spiritual force was like a whirlpool frantically being sucked out of his body. It was extremely uncomfortable. Moreover, Long Fei continuously failed and continuously comprehended a process that was successful several tens of times, and even hundreds of times once. Schwa. The draw slasher flew out, and Long Fei's power flooded in. Long Fei grinned and smiled. "I've seen Shao Li Fei Dao before, but have you seen Shao Li Fei draw slasher before?" Whoosh. Blood shadow. Teleportation. If he locked on to a target, that was the truth. Boom. The moment it touched the blood sea diagrams, the great power of the draw slasher suddenly exploded. From the point to the line, to the surface, it covered the entire blood sea diagrams. Rumble. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Ear-piercing sounds rang out continuously. In less than half a second, creak, creak. The blood sea diagrams truly split apart quickly, and the cracks continued to extend outwards. Finally, it completely collapsed. Boom. The draw slasher had pierced through the blood sea diagrams, and its power was still being crazily released. The moment the whole blade pierced the array, the mini version of the draw slasher changed, just like how a demonic beast transformed into a huge blade that soared into the sky. It was 10,000 times stronger than the mini knife from before. A bloody giant floated above four devils' head, terrifying to the extreme. The soul demon was so scared that his legs went soft, and he couldn't even stand properly. His lips started trembling. Brother Cho, didn't you say that the blood sea diagrams could resist it? Quickly kill Long Fei. At this moment, Long Fei moved his idea. Cut it for me. Boom. Long Fei didn't expect that the draw slasher would transform itself. Furthermore, it had become so arrogant and overbearing, and the aura it emitted was incomparably savage. The moment it transformed, a bit of the draw slasher's power seeped into Long Fei's sea of consciousness. A single slash. They were not given any time to react. The soul demon's face turned pale white, and he immediately flew out in fright. Long Fei, I didn't kill many of your evil sound sect disciples. It was Chiu Wantian and Chi Mei who killed them all. Chiu Wantian frowned. He released the power of the sea of blood from his body and directly grabbed the fastest escaping soul demon and bellowed, "Go to hell! Chiu Wantian, fuck your ancestors." While the soul demons were panicking, they never thought that Chiu Wantian would pull him down with him. Facing the huge blade that came cutting down from the sky, the soul demon's body exploded, and all of the strength in his body was used for defense. However, it was useless. Boom. Crack. The head rolled down from the air. One slash on the head. Soul devil. Die. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing soul demons for obtaining 10 experience points, true chi points, and energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the soul absorbing blade. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining, without striking energy value, he only dropped a few ordinary items. Before the system beep could finish speaking, it was pulled into the Yen Huang ancestor's mouth and chewed. Long Fei glanced at it briefly. The Yen Huang ancestor stared at him and said, "What are you looking at? Have you never seen anyone eating holy artifact before?" Air. Long Fei immediately stopped talking. Moreover, he didn't have time to talk now. After the draw slasher killed the soul demon, it became like a deflated balloon, rapidly shrinking back into the mini version of the draw slasher. Long Fei kept it, and kept it inside the space ring. Then, Long Fei took a step forward and landed heavily on the plaza outside the Blood Sea Great Hall. He stared at the 3 sect masters at the entrance of the Great Hall and laughed coldly. "Chiu Wantian, you're feeling great, aren't you?" "Ha ha ha." Long Fei laughed wildly with pride. "Bloodsea diagrams? Too trashy. Ha ha ha." Long Fei mocked back madly. "Are you mocking me?" "Yes. Don't give me the chance to laugh at you 100 times over." Long Fei looked at Chiu Wantian, whose face was ashen, and laughed. "Chiu Wantian, why aren't you laughing anymore? Weren't you smiling gleefully just now? Didn't you say that I am unable to break this formation? Keep laughing now." "You're not laughing? Then I will laugh. Ha ha ha." "Chiu Wantian, you call yourself a demon with just trash? You guys clearly know that I am the God's Devil successor, that I am the owner of the God's Devil ancient case, and yet you still want to snatch me away. In your hearts, the God's Devil ancestor has already forgotten about me, so letting you stay in this world is of no use at all, It will only be a disgrace to the demon race. Long Fei said, solemnly. While they were talking, the heavenly demon aura on his body was being released crazily. The entire Blood Sea sect was covered by the aura of the heavenly demon. From Long Fei, Qiu Wantian's expression became serious, and he laughed coldly. So what if I broke the formation? So what if you are the god's devil successor? Long Fei, you are just trash of the War Elder realm. I don't believe that you can kill the three of us. Qiu Wantian slightly shouted. He firmly believed that it was impossible for Long Fei to be a match for the three of them. The giant axe in Qi Mei's hand shook, and he bellowed, Mountain Sea sect disciples, listen up. Ha! Qi Mei waved the giant axe in his hand, shouted fiercely, kill him. It was also at this moment the sect master of Blood Demon sect also shouted, disciples of the Blood Demon sect, listen up, charge, kill him. Qiu Wantian also sneered and said, disciples of the Blood Sea sect, listen up, kill him. Moreover, Qiu Wantian looked at the disciples of the Soul Demon sect who were looking at each other in dismay and shouted in a heavy voice, the one who killed your sect master is Long Fei. If you don't kill him, he will kill you later. An elder of the Soul Demon sect drew his sword and shouted, disciple of the Soul Demon sect, listen up, kill him. Kill. Boom, boom, boom. Countless disciples rushed out from all directions, surrounding the entire plaza so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. A cold smile emerged from the corner of Qiu Wantian's mouth as he said, Long Fei, you should kill them. Let's see how you will walk out of the Blood Sea sect today. Attack. He gave the order. The four devils' disciples surged forward like a tide. Long Fei stood where he was without moving, with a cold and bloodthirsty smile on his face. Since you all want to die, then I'll kill all of you. Buzz. The idea moved. The thunder dragon rod rushed out and floated beside Long Fei. The 8 dragons faced the pearl. From within the pearl, Xuan Bai's elf flapped her wings and flew out, quietly standing beside Long Fei, and giggled, Master, what can I do for you? Long Fei laughed. Adjust your firepower to its strongest. Send all of these people into the underworld. Fei giggled, her gaze sweeping the area as she said furiously, going against my master is going against my Fei. All of you must die. Long Fei's idea moved right after. Thunder Dragon Rod, 8 Dragon Fury, Lightning 10,000, Attack. Chapter 18_8419/2356721. The strength of our idea touching on its own. The strength of our idea touching on its own. At the same time, Fei adjusted the power of her elemental fairy to its highest point. Under the effects of her elemental power, the entire lightning field started to churn violently and expand as well. 3 100,000 points S of true Qi were exhausted. 8 lightning Long Fei exited the Thunder Dragon Rod S and charged into the thunderclouds in the sky. Less than 1/10 of a second had passed. Crack! The Thunder Dragon flew into a rage, rolling and shooting out bolts of lightning in a berserk manner. Rumble! 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 Thousands of disciples were harvested crazily. Towards them, Long Fei did not have the slightest bit of sympathy. If he was sympathetic, who sympathized with him? Experience, true Qi, come at me. Oh, ha ha. Long Fei howled towards the sky, the crimson color wantonly floating about, as though he was truly a wild demon. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Blood Sea sect disciple for obtaining 2,800 experience points, 200 true Qi, and 100 energy values. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Mountain Sea sect disciple for obtaining 3,000 experience, 340 true chi, and 100 energy values. When the system beep exploded, Long Fei was even worried that it would shatter the system beep's horn, because the feeling of watching the experience bar rise up was just too great. Half a minute later, ding! Congratulations, player. You are currently at War Elder level 8. Still 2 levels away. War Master Reem was still 2 levels away. 10 minutes later, the experience bar had already risen to 87%. He was only 13% away from leveling up again. In the lightning field, there was only ashes, not even a speck of it was left. It was also at this moment. No one dared to approach Long Fei anymore. Fei yawned, her face filled with sleepiness as she said, "Master, I'm going to go take a nap. Fei is so sleepy." After flying into the bead, the Thunder Dragon Rod was also returned to Long Fei. Long Fei looked at Chiu Wantian, who was standing at the entrance of the Great Hall, and laughed wildly once again. Several thousand disciples disappeared in a split second. That enormous lightning field was too terrifying. Chiu Wantian's expression became incomparably ugly, and asked with a heavy tone, "Long Fei, you said that you're a god's devil successor, but our 8 great demon sects are all part of the Sky Demon clan. So how can you still be considered a god's devil successor when you're being so cruel to your own clansmen?" "Ha ha!" Long Fei laughed and said, "You admit now that I'm a god's devil successor? Now you're saying that I killed a lot of demonic chi cultivators? What have you been doing?" Long Fei said as his gaze tightened, "Back then, when Xie Qin returned to the Evil Sound sect, he told them everything. In your eyes, only greed and profit can be found. You guys only want the treasures among the gods, devil ancient case. Why didn't you guys say I was God's devil successor at that time? I became the Evil Sound sect's master, and you massacred the entire Evil Sound sect. At that time, why didn't you say that I was a God's devil successor? Now tell me about the God's devil successor. I will pass on my teachings to your 18 generations of ancestors." The more Long Fei spoke, the angrier he got, and the more murderous he got. Scenes of the tragic deaths of the Evil Sound sect's female disciples appeared in his mind. From that moment onwards, Long Fei wanted to exterminate the 7 great demon sections. Whatever mission it was, all of it was thrown to the back of his mind. If people don't offend me, then I won't offend them. But if they offend me, wash your ass and wait. Chiu Wantian's eyes turned sinister as he asked, "Is there no room for discussion?" Long Fei laughed. "Did you discuss this with them when you killed the disciples of our Evil Sound sect?" Chi Mei yelled. "Long Fei, you aren't from the Evil Sound sect. The death of Evil Sound sect disciples has nothing to do with you. You are just a lackey from a proper sect." Cluck, cluck, cluck. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, his joints bursting out as he stared at Chi Mei. From the moment they knelt down and kowtowed to me, I was Evil Sound sect leader. If you want to say what sect's lackey I am. Ha ha. Long Fei sneered and said coldly, "After you die, you will discover that the demons will lead me to the peak of the South Horizon region. And all of you will be forgotten by history because you are not worthy to be recorded in it. Bring it on. Cut the crap. Let's do it." Long Fei did not want to waste his breath on them anymore. After killing these 3 people, he would be able to complete his mission with the Demon Lord. He could use the Sky Demon armor and the full set of Sky Demon armor, then ride his 9 secret underworld finches into the underworld. Time. What he lacked the most was time. Chi Mei looked at Chiu Wantian. Chiu Wantian's gaze tensed up, and he said, "Kill!" Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 great streams of light flew out and hovered in the air, landing in 3 different directions around Long Fei. encircling him in the middle. At the same time, the three of them moved, and the strong pressure of the level 7 War Emperor poured down like a waterfall, heavily crushing Long Fei's mind and consciousness. Boom, boom, boom. In his sea of consciousness, enormous waves surged as one strike after another caused Long Fei to be unable to raise his waist. His knees were trembling. His face turned pale. Pressure, pressure, and they're all pressure. Long Fei was extremely unhappy. He could barely endure the pressure of one War Emperor, but if all three of them came together. Long Fei gritted his teeth as his eyes flashed with blood. He said solemnly, "The thing that I hate the most in my life is coercion." Ah! He bellowed. Qiu Wantian's gaze turned sinister as he sneered, "Long Fei, kneel down and accept your death." The attacks of the Blood Demon sect leader and Qi Mei caught up to each other at the same time. Long Fei's knees trembled. A powerful pressure pressed down on his heart, as if 100,000 mountains were pressing down on his body. His knees were trembling nonstop, and beads of sweat the size of beans dripped down one after another. He was in a bad mood, very unhappy. He nearly kneeled on the floor. Su Yun rolled his eyes, stared at the incoming figures in the air, and roared in his heart, "Three-rate peerless technique." Buzz. 8 times the usual stats. At this moment, Long Fei locked onto Qi Mei and said, "Secret technique. Sealing. Seal it for me." A powerful energy exploded out and enveloped Qi Mei's body. In that instant, Qi Mei's entire body was held by the seal. The time remaining was extremely short, not even 1/10 of a second. But in the blink of an eye, Long Fei took a step forward. Blood Dragon's angry slash. Roar! The Blood Dragon was infuriated as Long Fei slashed with his blade heavily. Too fast. It was shockingly fast. Qi Mei looked at the blade falling down. He used his axe to lift it. The time for the seal was over. Bam! Flames flew in all directions. This attack had been completely blocked. Moreover, Qi Mei's reaction speed was even faster than Long Fei's. The huge axe moved, sweeping across. The back of the axe struck Long Fei's waist, and his entire body transformed into a straight line as he flew out. Bam! After directly smashing a building into ruins, Long Fei flew out of the building and flew several thousand meters before heavily falling down. Chapter 28_8419/2356722. His strength was too powerful. His strength was too powerful. With just his own strength, the level 7 War Emperor was still unable to move. Indeed, the difference was too great. The difference between their realms was a hard wound. A ha ha ha. Qi Mei laughed out wildly. "You want to sneak attack your father? Long Fei, don't you like to ask others whether they are happy or not? Now it's my turn to ask you. Long Fei, are you satisfied?" Ha ha ha. Qiu Wantian and the Blood Demon sect leader laughed out loud. The power of the previous move was too strong. Ordinary War Master Ream warriors would be instantly killed. And Long Fei was only a War Elder realm. Even if he did not die, he would still be severely injured. Uff! Long Fei spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was as white as paper, and slowly crawled up the ground. Then, step by step, he walked out of the dark forest. He was dragging the dragon salyer in his hand. The demon aura on his body became strange, and his aura completely changed. It wasn't just the aura of the sky demon, but also another kind of energy aura. This kind of power was the aura of the Yan Huang ancestor. Yan Huang ancestor said, "You really don't need me to do anything?" Long Fei shook his head and said, "You just need to protect me from being crushed by your pressure. As for the other things, I'll do." Yan Huang ancestor laughed loudly and said, "All right, from the beginning, from the moment Long Fei was smashed by the pressure of the three War Emperor S, the Yan Huang ancestor had asked him if he wanted to help. Long Fei rejected him. Long Fei did not wish to rely on the ancestor. Too much reliance would only make his growth slower. He had to rely on it to deal with level 7 War Emperor rankers. But what about when the time came to deal with War God realm rankers? What about in the future, when we deal with Hong Tianjun? He can still rely on it. Long Fei wanted to use his own strength to stomp on everything beneath his feet, not Yan Huang ancestor's strength. Qi Mei laughed coldly and said disdainfully, "You dog, you haven't died yet? And here I thought you were just that strong." Now, he was very confident. With just Long Fei's strength alone, she was not his match. The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back, and his face carried a cold smile akin to death god, but he did not say a word. Qi Mei's gaze turned cold as he laughed. "Trash, let me see how many more heavy blows you can take." And then Qi Mei moved. Smoke came out from his feet. His huge body bounced into the air. He held onto the axe tightly and slashed down onto Long Fei's head, as if it covered the sky. "Give me your life." Walala! The power was like rolling thunder. The Mountain Sea sect was famous for its strange power, and it was the most powerful sect. Xiao Wantian looked at Qi Mei, who was in midair, and laughed. Let alone War Elder realm, even if it's War Emperor realm itself, it would have to be instantly killed. Ha ha ha. The head of the Blood Demon sect also laughed and said, "This kid is dead, for sure." This power was ridiculously strong. Long Fei could not defend at all, as his body would be chopped into pieces. However, at this moment, Xiao Wantian's expression changed, because there were 3 more clones above Qi Mei's head. Long Fei's clone. Xiao Wantian's face was filled with shock as he shouted loudly, "Brother Qi Mei, above your head! This bastard is too sinister." Qi Mei was a strong level 7 War Emperor ranker. His power could be used freely. Upon hearing Xiao Wantian's voice, he turned his head, and his eyes revealed a sinister look. "You dog, you think you can sneak attack me like this?" The instant he spoke, Long Fei, who was on the ground, had disappeared. He landed beside Qi Mei and said coldly, "What about now? Magic chop. Roar." The Titan blood vein moved, and Long Fei's figure immediately turned into a giant. Without giving Qi Mei any time to react, Long Fei slashed his blade down. All of Qi Mei's attention was on the 3 clones in the air. But how could he have thought that Long Fei's original body was actually the body on the ground? Isn't he crazy? If Qi Mei did not stop and continued with his slash, Long Fei would be killed instantly. Xiao Wantian was dumbstruck, his body trembling slightly as he said, "Crazy, crazy. He's too crazy. He's not fighting at all. He's betting his life on it." Blood Demon sect leader gulped. His face was a bit pale. Meeting such an opponent was simply a nightmare. Rumble! Qi Mei was caught off guard, was chopped into 2 by Long Fei on the ground. A deep crater formed on the ground. Moonlit step. Long Fei landed beside the point where Qi Mei landed first. Without waiting for him to get up, the dragon Salyer slashed down again. "Are you asking lousy whether I feel good or not? Are you feeling good now?" Whoosh, 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 asterisk the dragon Salyer slashed at Qi Mei, who was in the deep pit madly. The 3 clones descended, and just like Long Fei, they attacked with fists that were previously filled with torrential rain, but this time they were attacking like Dragon Salyer S, not giving Qi Mei any chance to stand up. Skills were unleashed one after another. It was also at this time Xiao Wantian's shocked expression immediately recovered, and he rushed forward, the pressure of the level 7 War Emperor crushing down on him at the same time. Pop! Bobo! The three clones were crushed and vanished. Long Fei's true body was not affected in the slightest. The Yen Huang ancestor disdainfully replied, "The might of the level 7 war emperor? TSK, you're too weak." Long Fei's blade cut down and shouted loudly, "Is that cool?" "Feeling good." "You F asterisk king speak. Are you feeling good or not?" Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Asterisk Chimei's entire body was drenched in blood. It was because of a single mistake, and behind him, he wanted to suppress Long Fei with his might, but he kept trying, kept failing, and was completely unable to crush Long Fei. This was his second mistake. He could imagine that there was a Yen Huang ancestor in Long Fei's body. His aura was like that of an ant being crushed to death by the ancestor. If it weren't for these two mistakes, he would have been able to stand up again. So what if he missed the chance? With Long Fei's berserk critical strike, the wound on his head started to heal, and the injuries on his body became worse. He had already lost the chance to turn the situation around. "Long Fei, stop!" Qiu Wantian bellowed, his figure moving as fast as lightning. It was too late. In the deep pit, Long Fei was a butcher who went berserk. From the corner of his eyes, he saw Qiu Wantian flying towards him, and the blade in his hand became even more crazed. Finally, looking at the last bit of HP left on top of Chimei's head, Long Fei rushed forward, blood dragon rage. Rumble! As the blade slashed down, the blood dragon that was shooting up into the sky rumbled down and drilled into Chimei's body. Chimei's body crazily exploded outwards. His HP was now low. Chimei dead. Long Fei then cut off Chimei's head with one blade and held it in his hands. Blood flowed profusely, and Chimei's eyes turned white. At this time, Long Fei took a step out of the deep pit and arrogantly roared out, "Satisfying? Huh. Equals half carrot float. Hashtag life carrot. Are you unhappy? I feel so good. Ha ha ha." It was also at this time that the system beep resounded. Ding. Chapter 38_8419/2356723. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Mountain Sea Sovereign Qi, Mei for obtaining 10 experience points, true Qi points, and energy values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Mountain Sea Sovereign Qi, Mei for obtaining 10 experience points, true Qi points, and energy values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the strange power of the mountains and seas. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the heaven-shaking axe. Long Fei did not release his striking energy value. The striking energy value must naturally be left for the strongest boss, Qiu Wantian. Fuse. The strange power of the mountains and seas merged into Long Fei's body, becoming even stronger. Long Fei threw the head in his hand. Chimei's white eyes rolled over and landed at Qiu Wantian's feet. Long Fei smirked, satisfying. It was also at this time the defensive line in Blood Demon Sect leader's heart collapsed. The soul demons were instantly killed. Chimei was killed. This Long Fei was a complete monster, and a lunatic monster at that. He could not bear such an impact in his heart. Even if he was a level 7 War Emperor ranker, he couldn't take it. The Blood Demon Sect leader let out a loud shout, turned around, and ran away. "I'm not playing anymore. I'm not playing anymore." Whoosh, whoosh, go all out, and don't want to see Long Fei again. Long Fei did not chase after him. Instead, the idea moved slightly and connected to the blood corpse ancestor that was hidden in the darkness. Qiu Wantian shouted loudly, "Come back, blood demon! Come back quickly. We will definitely defeat him if you join hands with us. Come back quickly." No matter how loud he yelled, the blood demon never looked back. Just like seeing a ghost, he didn't want to see Long Fei again in this life. The pressure in his heart was too strong. Long Fei squinted his eyes, looked at the blood demons that had disappeared into the sky, and laughed. Only the two of us are left now. Qiu Wantian's gaze tightened and said, Long Fei, do you really have the heart to let the 8 demon sects perish? Those sects that are eyeing us like tigers, eyeing their prey, have been staring at us all this while. If we kill each other, we will only let them reap the benefits from our treatment. Nantian sect is a very good example. Don't you understand this logic? Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed out loud and said, Qiu Wantian, it seems like you wanted to submit to Nantian's sect just now. Don't you find it laughable to tell me this now? Qiu Wantian said, I was forced by you to do this. You exterminated the 3 great demon sects, so we can only consider this in order to survive. Long Fei, with your talent and potential, coupled with my support, I believe that the heavenly demon blood flag will float again. Long Fei looked at Qiu Wantian and said, Your support, what do you have left? Bloodsea sect or what sect? Back then, all of you had the chance to choose, and even if you did not touch Evil Sound sect, I would have let you off scot-free because I once owed you 8 great demon sections. However, ever since you killed the first disciple of Evil Sound sect, you have sought your own death. Long Fei slowly said. Qiu Wantian's eyes moved, and tears began to drip from his eyes. Long Fei, I was wrong. We were wrong. I hope you can give me another chance. Tears streamed down his face. Long Fei let out a long sigh. At this moment, Qiu Wantian felt the qi on Long Fei's body loosen up slightly. His eyes turned sinister, and the qi on his body suddenly exploded. Brat, go to hell! His palms shook, Bloodsea God's palm. Boom, boom. The sea of blood was boundless, turning the sky upside down, as all of the powerful Level 7 War Emperor's power exploded towards Xiang Longfei's chest. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, I haven't even finished speaking. Qiu Wantian said, You no longer have a chance. Long Fei said, What I wanted to say was, Your acting skills are too terrible. As soon as he finished, Long Fei's body suddenly exploded out, turning into a rain of blood. Rumble! Qiu Wantian's palm cut through empty air. His eyebrows secretly tightened, and he said, Great blood refining art? You fixed up Yinyu's great blood refining art? Is it strange? Qiu Wantian, your acting is too terrible. Do you think you can deceive me by letting out a few tears? You're too naive. As soon as he finished, the rain of blood began to fall crazily. There was no way for them to defend themselves. Sky blood rain. A drop of blood transformed into a ray of blood-red light and shot down. The blood mist on Qiu Wantian's body also erupted violently, and he snorted coldly. So what if you're using the great blood refining art? Even if Yinyu is here, I will still trample him to death. The blood mist blocked all of the blood drops. Moreover, Qiu Wantian continued to absorb the power from the blood bead and laughed. Leave all the power in your body to me. Whoosh, 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 asterisk, ding. True Chi's value dropped by 10,000 points. Ding. True Chi's value dropped by 10,000 points. The system kept beeping. Long Fei felt a shiver in his heart. SH asterisk T. I've fallen into a trap. Then, he quickly withdrew his body and shot out. All of the blood drops gathered in the air and coughed out a mouthful of blood the moment the heavenly demon body was restored. Qiu Wantian laughed wildly and said, Great blood refining art. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, I want your life. Qiu Wantian turned into a cloud of blood mist and rushed towards Xiang Longfei. 3-rate peerless technique. Heavenly note break. Long Fei's strength sunk as he turned and roared loudly. The sound wave attack was like rolling thunder, completely dispersing the blood mist. A blood-red skull emerged from the blood mist. Qiu Wantian's ears also started to ooze blood. Evil Girl Saints' heavenly sound break. There's more. Long Fei made a grasping motion with his right hand. Strange power of the mountain sea realm. Heaven-shaking axe. Taking out a gigantic axe. It was the heaven-shaking axe in Qi Mei's hands, chopping down towards Qiu Wantian's head. Walala! The strange power of the mountains and seas made Long Fei's left arm become extremely thick, just like a demon beast's. With a flip of his body, he slashed out. Qiu Wantian was extremely shocked. The great art of blood, refinement, heavenly note break. And now the strange power of the mountain sea and the heaven-shaking axe. Was this Long Fei even a human? However, Qiu Wantian's level 7 War Emperor, his strength was infinitely close to the 8th level of the War Emperor. Facing the heaven-shaking axe that could shatter the earth, a drop of his blood essence was condensed into form. Boundless blood sea. Blood fury. As the drop of blood essence landed, the ground became a sea of blood. The sea of blood raged and churned nonstop, and with a furious roar from Qiu Wantian, a heaven-defying wave of blood essence came crashing down. Rumble! Rumble! After sending Long Fei's heaven-shaking axe flying, Long Fei also retreated by a few hundred meters. Qiu Wantian laughed wildly and said, "Long Fei, you want to kill me? You are not qualified." It was also at this time Long Fei revealed a look of shock. "Didn't you escape?" Qiu Wantian turned his head to look and started laughing loudly. "The blood demon is back. Long Fei, you will die even more now. Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life strongest upgrade system." Blood demon stood in the air, his eyes lifeless. He slowly said, "I will kill him." Qiu Wantian laughed. "That's right. If we join hands, this dog will definitely die." The corner of Long Fei's mouth curved up as he laughed coldly. "Really? Kill them all." Chapter 48_8419/2356724. As soon as he finished, the blood demon sect leader's power exploded forth. Unbridled, arrogant beyond compare. Even the potential in his body had been revealed. Qiu Wantian laughed wildly and said, "Blood demon, let's attack him together and kill him." At this moment, before Qiu Wantian could react, a wave of thick energy pressed down from his back. Rumble! Uffed! Qiu Wantian spat out a mouthful of blood, his face pale white. Never in his dreams did he expect that the blood demon would suddenly attack him. Bam! As he fell from the sky, blood demon also fell from the sky, striking towards Qiu Wantian with a berserk barrage of attacks, not holding back at all. Why? Blood demon, why are you doing this? Qiu Wantian could not understand at all. Why was all this happening? Long Fei slowly descended. Looking at the Qiu Wantian in the deep pit, he was already half dead from being continuously attacked by the blood demons. At this moment, the blood demon knelt on one knee. "I pay my respects to Master." "Master?" Qiu Wantian was completely stunned. Since when did the blood demon become Long Fei's servant? Long Fei moved and said, "The heaven-shaking axe is useless. Ancestor, it is yours." Yen Huang Ancestor laughed excitedly. "I've always said this is just a trash axe." He hurriedly stuffed it into his mouth and started wolfing it down. Long Fei disdainfully said, "Damn, you're still eating trash." After he finished speaking, Long Fei did not pay any attention to Yen Huang Ancestor and slowly dragged his dragon salyer down. He looked at Qiu Wantian and smiled. "Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed wildly. In the instant that the sect leader escaped, his idea was linked to the blood corpse ancestor, allowing him to secretly attack and kill the sect leader. Then he would enter his body and turn around to fight back. Moreover, when the blood corpse ancestor killed the blood demon, Long Fei had already broken through to War Elder level 9. How could Xiao Wantian think of this? Even if he wanted to, he wouldn't be able to figure it out. Long Fei looked at the Xiao Wantian, who had an expression of unwillingness, and said, "It must be very good, right?" Xiao Wantian roared loudly. "Long Fei, you are a despicable, shameless villain. You are scum. You are the world's #1 trash. Let go of me if you dare. I want to fight you one-on-one. Let your sister go." Long Fei slashed down, and then Long Fei once again chopped down with his blade, saying, "Just your sister. You were bitten by a dog when you were an hour ago pinched by the door and kicked by a donkey, weren't you? One-on-one. Go to hell." With each strike, the blade chopped down. Xiao Wantian was already half dead, with a few violent punches causing his HP to run low. Both of his eyes bulged out, as he was extremely unreconciled. Explode! Long Fei hacked down with his blade, harvesting the last of his blood. The system sounded out. Long Fei was also moved by the idea, and said, "Release your striking energy value." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Xiao Wantian for obtaining 10 experience points, true chi points, and energy values points. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the Blood Rage Tide and cultivating. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Underworld King Blood Vein. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Underworld King's Slash. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Spirit Stone 2,200 pills. Immediately, Long Fei became excited. Underworld King Blood Vein. Ha ha ha. This thing must have gone crazy. The idea moved, opening up the system to check. However, without waiting for Long Fei to control it, the system sounded out. Ding! The Nether King Blood Vein was swallowed by the dragon Salyer. Long Fei shouted loudly. "No!" He sat down on the ground. His mind was blank. He was starting to doubt life. "Why did you do this? Why did you do this to me? Do I owe you anything from my past life?" The Nether King Blood Vein. You say that it can be consumed just like that. Have you ever considered how I feel about it? Long Fei really wanted to curse. Isn't this way too much? Didn't say anything as he swallowed all these blood vein and the other demon beastess. However, this was the Nether King Blood Vein, the Berserk Underworld King Blood Vein. Just listening to the 2 words Underworld King was extremely cool, but Long Fei didn't even look at it. However, Long Fei threw the dragon Salyer out. Go. I really want to cry. There were originally no blood vein in his body. The moment Long Fei heard the Underworld King Blood Vein exploding out, his mind stirred, and he remembered about the fusion. But at this moment, the dragon Salyer that was thrown out by Long Fei did not land on the ground, but floated in midair. The originally blood-red aura of the saber was now a dark hue. The aura of the saber was like burning flames, crazily churning about. Moreover, the vicious aura that burst out from its body was even more intense than before. The bloodthirsty dragon that was coiled on the back of the saber was also transforming into a ferocious black dragon, slightly stronger than the bloodthirsty dragon. Roar. The dragon Salyer released a furious roar from within, as if it had received some kind of dark energy, and the dragon's roar shot straight into the heavens. They were completely shocked. The dragon Salyer had changed and was undergoing a berserk transformation. Yen, Huang Ancestor laughed excitedly. "Ha ha! Kid, The level of the dragon salure has risen to another level. The dark dragon god blood essence in its body has been activated, and the damage is now 2 times stronger than before. Just this dragon salure alone is enough to easily break the defense of a level 7 War Emperor Rancor. Awesome! As expected of the supreme artifact, absorbing the blood vein, and leveling up, this kind of weapon is rarely seen even in the Chaos realm. Not bad at all. Long Fei also felt the change in the dragon salure, but he was still unhappy. He mumbled, "Would it be better to fuse with the underworld King Blood Vein than me?" Huh. The Yen Huang ancestor said, "Of course it's good. It's truly good. Your body can't exert any kind of power when fusing with the Nether King's blood vein. So the dragon salure is different. If he can release the Nether King's power to its limits, you can just wait and see." Ha ha ha. This is going to be great. Yen Huang ancestor was very excited. This was the first time he was so excited. Supreme Artifact S. It was slowly walking towards the peak of its existence. Long Fei was looked down upon and mumbled, "I even wanted to fuse with the Nether King blood vein." Yen Huang ancestor was startled for a moment, then said, "This kind of blood vein is not suitable for you. Don't worry, I will let you fuse with the unparalleled blood vein. Leave the matter of the blood vein to me." Yen Huang ancestor had already thought about it. Long Fei glanced at the dragon salure that was floating in mid-air and releasing its energy. The idea moved and said, "Can you let me see the blood vein's energy attribute next time? Can you respect me for a bit?" The dragon salure suddenly moved and quietly landed beside Long Fei, like a child who had done something wrong. Let's go back. Baidu search. Half afloat, the dragon salure flew into the midst of the space ring. Long Fei looked at the 4 corpses of the 4 devils' sect leaders around him and excitedly laughed. It's time to complete the mission. Chapter 5. Thanks for everyone's support. The monthly ticket ranking still needs 35 more monthly tickets before it explodes. Brothers, fire please. Also, keep your ranking and go berserk on March 1st. Don't worry. 8_8419/2356725. Ding. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 1/8 of the supreme mission of the demon race. The current mission is 5/8 of the way to completion. As soon as his voice faded, Long Fei controlled the idea, and it came out from the head of the blood vein sect master and crawled into Qiu Wantian's brain. Following that, Qiu Wantian kneeled on the ground. "I am willing to submit." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for giving up to Blood Sea sect and completing 1/8 of the mission. The current quest is 6/8 of the way to completion. This is as long as the quest point was touched, the system would accept it. As long as the 8 sect masters of the demon sect kneeled in front of Long Fei and said that they would submit, everything would be fine. All passed. Following that, another 2 notifications sounded. Even if the soul demons and Chi Mei's heads were chopped off, the blood corpse ancestor could still be healed. Just as the soul demons kneeled in front of Long Fei saying that they had submitted, the system beep sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the Demon Sovereign mission. Long Fei's heart tightened as he became excited. The critical moment has arrived. I must complete it in full. Don't discount it. Bodhisattva, bless me. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining task reward. Experience 40 million, true Qi 250,000, 50,000, free of charge. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, War Master, level 1. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining special gift pack reward. Would you like to check it? Long Fei sighed at the sky. Why? Why? Why is it half of the reward? I am the rational one in the system. You can't do that. He only received half of the reward. The system determined that Long Fei had used his own strength to crush him. Long Fei's heart felt bitter as he looked at the other 40 million experience disappearing. My liver hurts. However, he had earned a lot from this mission. Originally, he hadn't been able to receive any rewards from this mission. However, now that the mission had forced him to submit to the 8 great demon sects, he was going to suffer a bloodbath. To send the 7 great demon sects directly to hell was already an eye-opener from the heavens in such a situation. Looking at a gift box that was flickering with light in his mind, Long Fei moved his hand and pressed it. Check it. The gift box opened. The system beep also rang out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Mountain Sea Beast Transformation Mode system. You have gained 100 experience points, 100 true chi, and 100 points as a reward. Another system has been triggered. But what do you mean by Mountain Sea Beast Transformation Mode system? Long Fei opened the system in doubt and checked the properties of the Beast Transformation Mode. It doesn't matter if you don't see it. With a single look, Long Fei's entire person was ignited as he roared out loudly, Fuck, this is the tempo of the heavens. System. Mountain Sea Beast Transformation Mode. System description. Player can transform into a beast and become a powerful beast of the mountain and sea scripture. Description 2. Can only be activated once a day. Description 3. Time continued to increase from half an hour. As the player's beast transformation level increased, the amount of berserk beasts they produced would also increase. Wow! It's the heavens. They really are the heavens. Even the fierce beasts of the mountain and sea scripture can transform. Ha ha ha! Long Fei laughed as if he was an idiot. Why? This was because the mountain and sea scripture's berserk beasts were truly an existence that was cool, domineering, and dazzling. Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, and Kirin. 9 sons of the dragon, Cow Confinement, Wind Taunt, Pusan, Swananai, Bayan Negative, Hornless Kiss. These were divine beast-s. There were also countless ferocious beasts. Was this the tempo of the heavens? System. If you don't want a girl, I will definitely marry you. Long Fei was so excited that he could not stop. The bosses in the Mountain Sea Scripture were all extremely ferocious. There were people flying in the sky, people swimming in the water, and people digging underground. Everything was there. What was there to worry about in the future? There was no need to worry at all. The last time he had faced Situfeng, his body had been nurtured by a primordial beast. It was very strong, an existence that Long Fei was completely unable to shake. But compared to the vicious beasts of the mountain and sea scripture, that vicious beast was nothing but trash. It's time for heaven. It's really going up in the sky. Long Fei was extremely excited. At this moment, Xiao Bai broke through and ran up the peak, saying, Master, Nantian Sec's disciples suddenly retaliated. I don't know why. Counterattack. Long Fei frowned and said, Looks like Nantian Sec's reinforcements are here, and there should be people stronger than Situ Yao. Forget it. Let them go today. There's still plenty of time in the future. If he didn't leave now, he wouldn't be able to leave. The mountain and sea scripture's beast transformation system could be transformed into a strange beast from the mountain sea realm. But what was the situation now? Long Fei had not been tested. Moreover, these strange beasts also needed to be upgraded in order to become stronger. Adding on Long Fei's current big move, Ice and Fire. Retreat first, jumped on top of it, his gaze moving as he said, Target Dark Canyon, appear. Boom. Boom. he flapped his wings and disappeared into the horizon. The level increase of ice and fire, his speed also increased. This time, Long Fei had made a ton of money and was the biggest winner. The War Master Reem is here. Did the Dark Crow King of the Dark Peak evolve into a 9 secret underworld finches, or not? Long Fei secretly thought. Sis, just wait for me. I will definitely bring your 3 souls and 7 souls out of the underworld. I definitely will. In another place, Evil Sound Sect. The moment Li Yuanba's angry hammer fell, that elder Nantian sect, who was in the 2nd level of the War Emperor, was struck so hard that his entire body seemed as if it was on fire. A bolt of lightning struck down. The elder's head exploded as smoke rose from his mouth, and his eyes fell to the ground. Li Yuanba imitated Long Fei and roared. Who else? F***CK his grandmother. I'm just asking. Who else is there? Arhut rolled his eyes at him and said, Who else can it be if we kill them all? Huh. Li Yuanba scratched his head and laughed simple-mindedly. It's not fun at all. OL3 is not fun at all. These little lackeys of Nantian sects are really too slow. They died just like that. Arhut rolled his eyes again and said, Second brother, don't you see how strong you are now? A powerhouse of the 2nd rank of the War Emperor is completely beaten to death by you. Table of contents, half, /float** life. Speaking of Long Fei, Li Yuanba's heart immediately tensed up and he muttered, Don't worry, boss will definitely be fine. At this moment, behind them, the Evil Sound Sect female disciples all looked at them with respect. They felt grateful towards Li Yuanba in their hearts, and at the same time worshipped him even more. Lonely Spirit was quietly floating at the side, watching the battle and excitedly laughing. That's too fierce. 8_8419/2356726. At the peak of the Blood Sea. At the peak of the Blood Sea. Situ Chong stood outside the Blood Sea Great Hall and looked around at the mess around him. His eyebrows furrowed together. Just what is happening here? All the sect leaders of the 4 devils were killed. Situ Yao was killed, could it be? All of them were done by Long Fei alone. Situ Chong, Vice Sect Master Nantian Sect. His cultivation was at the 9th level of War Emperor. Looking at the scene in front of him, his scalp felt numb. He frowned and thought to himself, this Long Fei, could he really be stronger than Hong Tianjun of the Heaven Sect? Huff. Go back to Nantian Sect and make a new plan. Situ Chong heavily shouted. Another elder asked, Vice Sect Leader, do we send people to take over the Blood Sea Sect? The spiritual energy here is very dense. Situ Chong shook his head and said, No need. Whoever wants to take over can be taken over. Let's see how many lives they have left. Long Fei was too terrifying. If anyone dared to occupy the territory of the 8 great demon sect, it would be a massacre as long as Long Fei returns. Situ Chong did not want to occupy it. On 2 occasions since Long Fei's essence was greatly damaged, he had to not move if he wanted to move. He had to have the power to kill. If not, if Long Fei managed to escape once more, then Nantian Sect's influence would be greatly reduced, which was extremely disadvantageous for the current Nantian Sect. Go back. Situ Chong's figure became a ball of light, and he had to quickly tell Situ how everything that happened here. Long Fei had already become Nantian Sect's biggest enemy. The amount of damage he had done to Nantian Sect had already surpassed that of Hong Tianjuan's. One person slaughtered the 8 great demon sects. Outside, all 8 demonic sects were massacred within a month. None of the 8 demon sect leaders have returned alive. This genius is Long Fei, the #1 person in the entire South Horizon region. Too strong. The 8 great demon sects have existed for 10,000 years, yet they were slaughtered by Long Fei alone. What kind of existence is this? The events that had happened in the Blood Sea sect began to spread rapidly. In just a few days, everyone in the entire South Horizon region knew about it, including Fireglass City's Long family. Ha ha ha. Lunatic Long laughed loudly. Xiao Fei, I didn't expect that in just over a year your name would spread throughout the South Horizon region. All right, very good. Long Wuhai was also extremely excited as he said, Dad, this kid is too powerful. Ha ha ha. Of course, our Long family, yes, are powerful. And I presume that our Long family was the #1 clan in the entire South Horizon region back then, just that our master had fallen, and we fell down all of a sudden. When the first family master of Long family was at the throne, it was at the peak of Long family. With the supreme artifact in his hands, the Long family was invincible, and the strongest family clan existed. But after all these years, the Long family was getting weaker and weaker every year, almost to the point of being exterminated. It was only until Long Fei appeared that they stopped. Long Wuhai said, maybe our Long family can go back to the peak. It will definitely work. Lunatic Long said excitedly. The dragon blood that Long Fei left behind allowed the disciples of the Long family to transform one by one. Currently, Lunatic Long had already reached 95% of his dragon blood activation. With another 5%, he would become a warrior of the dragon bloodline. This was a powerful existence. It was not only him. Many disciples of Long family had their dragon blood activation increased to 80%, and with the help of the dragon spirit pellet, the strength of the Long family had increased by leaps and bounds in a short year. It was already comparable to the strength of an intermediate sect. And all of this was because of Long Fei. The dragon scales on his fists flickered as he muttered, Xiao Fei, thank you for your hard work. There are less than 2 years left. I will make the Long family strong. I will bring the dragon blood warrior down to the heaven sect. I will make the one who bullied my grandson, wife's son, pay the price. He was very clear about the pressure that Long Fei was bearing. It was very heavy, very heavy. It was heavier than a mountain. The moment Long Fei left on the night of New Year's Eve, Dragon Madman knew that Long Fei would definitely rise again. The people of the Long family would never lose. A few days later, the Heavenly Sea sect has taken over the Soul Demon sect. The Miasma sect occupies the Mountain and Sea sect. The Celestial sect of Wonders has taken over the Blood Demon sect. News of the 8 great demon sects being occupied continued to spread. These demon sects were all sects from low-level factions, and some high-level factions did not make any moves, because they were very clear about what had happened in Blood Sea sect. Long Fei was the most terrifying existence in the entire South Horizon region. He would definitely fight back. Moreover, now, the power of the Orthodox sects had also changed. This change was like a gentle breeze that slowly rippled out and became stronger and stronger, eventually forming a huge wave that could overturn the sky. Situ Feng's death. The large number of deaths of Situ Yao and the disciples of the Martial Hall had greatly weakened Nantian's sect's strength. He had already fallen from the top of the altar of the #1 sect in the southern domain. The Heaven sect has become the #1 sect. Major news. The #1 genius of the southern domain, Hong Tianjun, has already stepped into the War God realm. Heavens, he's only in his 20s, and his cultivation has actually reached the War God realm, the strongest person in the entire history of the South Horizon region. Too abnormal. Nantian's sect. Situ House face became ugly. The War God realm actually broke through to the War God realm This Hong Tianjun, even he felt an inexplicable pressure. He used 70 years of time to break through to the war god realm, but Hong Tianjun only used 20 years of time. Moreover, Hong Tianjun's talent would definitely not stop at the war god realm. He would attack the highest realm of War King in the South Horizon region, and at that time, perhaps the entire South Horizon region was under the control of the Heaven Sect. War King, Nantian Sect, was the supreme existence. Situ Chong faintly said, "Sect Master, it is said that—" Situ Hao's brows sank and said, "Speak." Situ Chong said, "It is said that Hong Tianjun has been chosen by the overseas immortals and will be sent to the God Emperor Academy." "I don't know if that's true or not." God Emperor Academy. Situ Hao's face turned sinister again. These 4 words have not appeared in the South Horizon region in so many years. Even the God Emperor Academy failed to pass the first stage of the initial examination, yet he was chosen by the deities. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Situ Hao gritted his teeth until it made a cracking sound. Situ Chong said with a faint voice, "This is only a rumor. Whether it is true or not is still not confirmed." What kind of existence was the God Emperor Academy, the most powerful academy in the entire Sky Martial Continent? In the past 100 years, no one had qualified to enter the southern domain, yet Hong Tianjun had been chosen by the deity. If this was true, then he would truly be the #1 person on Nantian Sect's list. Situ Hao calmed down and said, "Pass down my order. Nantian Sect will temporarily avoid the attack. There are still less than 2 years left, and that is the Clan Congress. Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life strongest upgrade system, when the time comes." In another place, Dark Canyon, Long Fei stood under the dark peak, and the corner of his mouth slightly curled. "Crow King, brother is here again." Chapter 28_8419/2356727. Dark Peak. Dark Peak. The dark energy was like a blade, crazily blowing about. Long Fei carried the dragon salyer on his shoulder. His entire face was filled with dominance. His voice sank and suddenly exploded. "Dark Crow King, brother is here again." His voice resounded in the sky. It directly exploded at the top of Dark Peak. Next, the flames at the top of the pitch-black Dark Peak burned brightly, and fire ravens covered the sky as they rushed towards Long Fei. F***CK. It's a high-leveled skill. Long Fei's mind trembled, the corner of his mouth slightly curled, and said, "Do you think I'm still the same as a few months ago?" The dragon salyer descended. The black flame on the blade rolled out. Long Fei moved and said, "Ice, fire." Boom. Ice and fire rushed out from War Pet space. Long Fei leapt onto the dragon's back and coldly sneered, "Charge up and burn down his nest." Roar. The sound of ice and fire rose up into the sky. A flock of fire ravens followed behind him. It was a spectacular sight. Ha ha! Long Fei rode his ice and fire to the top of the cloud layer, looking at the 2 death-like eyes at the top of the dark peak, which was not far from him. His heart sank. "Charge over there." Ice and Fire said, "Understood." His speed changed, his wings flapped, and he quickly rushed to the top of Dark Peak. Compared to a few months ago, Bing's level increase had increased by quite a few levels, and he had now reached level 17. Speed, strength, and attack all increased. In the beginning, he had been in an extremely sorry state due to the fire ravens, but now these fire ravens couldn't keep up at all. "Come on, burn me. I can't catch up to him." Ha ha ha. The flames and ice were incredibly proud of themselves as they flew left and right, while the fire ravens flew right and left as well. He was completely fooled by the flames and ice. To be exact, He was probably being played by Long Fei. Long Fei laughed secretly in his heart. It's like tracking missiles. This is really fun. Last time, you chased me until I was pissed. This time, I'll burn down your old nest first. Long Fei's control of his fire and ice had obviously slowed down by a few degrees. He was maintaining a certain distance from the fire ravens. On top of Dark Peak was a huge tree. There were no branches or leaves on the tree. It was completely black like a burned tree. At the top of the tree, there was a huge nest, Dark Crow King's lair. Inside the den, Dark Crow King stared at Long Fei with eyes filled with the power of death and said with an ice-cold voice, "Puny human, is it you again? You escaped last time, and you still dare to come today?" Dark Crow King's solemn voice sounded out. Anger. Long Fei grinned from ear to ear. Last time, Big Bro said that there would be a day I would F***K you up. Big Bro came here now to F***CK, your Dark Crow King. You're courting death. The Dark Crow King's voice fell. The fire ravens increased their speed in an instant. Long Fei's palms broke out in cold sweat, and he said, "Fire and ice, add." Understood. The distance between them widened once again, maintaining a very ingenious distance. Dark Crow King's body shook and said, "Your strength has increased a bit, but with your little cultivation, you still dare to fight with me? You are courting death." Long Fei laughed. "Really?" As soon as he finished, Long Fei moved his idea once more before suddenly diving down. With a loud roar, he shouted, "Look at who's courting death." The direction suddenly changed. The fire ravens didn't even have time to react. The flock of fire ravens crashed into the big black tree. However, the moment they crashed into the tree, all the fire ravens exploded into pieces. Rumble! 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 The huge ancient tree combusted, and even the Dark Crow King's lair started to burn as well. Who wants to die? Feeling good. Last time, you almost made me pee my pants. This time, you yourself got blown away, Dark Crow King. So what's so good about it? Ha ha! Long Fei laughed out loud. It was also at this time. Dark Crow King was furious beyond compare, but the center of Yen Huang Ancestor's brows tightened as he said, "His lifespan is almost up." "What do you mean?" Long Fei's heart tightened. He didn't come here to kill Dark Crow King this time, but to tame him. Without him, Long Fei wouldn't even be able to go down to the underworld. Yen Huang Ancestor said, "I'm going to die. My lifespan is almost up. Seems like he hasn't evolved into a 9 secret underworld finches yet." Now, only by evolving into a 9 secret underworld finches can he regain his life force. F***CK. Long Fei cursed in his heart. "Ancestor, what should we do now? Without him, how would I have entered the underworld? And how would I have found Xiechin's 3 souls and 7 souls?" This was a very important issue. Without Dark Crow King, Long Fei could not enter the underworld. Moreover, the furious Dark Crow King gave up on his last moments of effort. He was going to die with dignity, right now. He wanted to kill Long Fei. Rumble. The sky suddenly began to burn. Endless flames burned as the Dark Crow King roared, "You lowly human, I want you to enter the underworld." Long Fei frowned and suddenly shouted, "Crow King, you have exhausted all of your lifespan, yet you dare to use such a strong power. Do you want to be reincarnated as soon as possible?" Dark Crow King's eyes moved and said, "How do you know that my lifespan is exhausted? Kid, who exactly are you?" Only he knew of his longevity. In these 1,000 years, no one dared to go against his domain, nor did they know when his lifespan would be used up. However, Long Fei actually knew that he was about to die. "Old dead." Long Fei said heavily, "Who I am is not important. What is important is that I can help you evolve, grant you a new life expectancy, and allow you to become a 9 secret underworld finches. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Crow King laughed wildly. With just you, a lowly cultivator of the War Master Ream, actually said something like you want me to evolve into a 9 secret underworld finches. You are not just an ordinary arrogant individual. I have cultivated for 1,000 years, and I am still unable to evolve. What made you dare to be so arrogant? After 1,000 years, he had persevered in his efforts. However, in the end, he still failed. It was also at this time. Yen Huang Ancestor's voice suddenly came out. He can't. I can. Dark Crow King's expression immediately changed. You are. He could feel the ferocity in his voice. Moreover, he was still somewhat familiar with this sound. The feeling was as if he had heard this sound in a dream or a reincarnation. Yen Huang Ancestor shouted, "Don't care who I am. Do as this brat says. Understand? Equals half carrot float. Hashtag life carrot. Yes, yes." He was hesitating, but the Dark Crow King nodded in agreement for some reason. Because of the Yen Huang Ancestor's voice. Long Fei was secretly shocked. What's going on? Chapter 38_8419/2356728. Very unusual. Very unusual. This was the first time the old patriarch's voice had been heard. Moreover, there was excitement in his voice. The most crucial point was that the incomparably arrogant Raven King would actually listen obediently. He was an existence surpassing the divine beast. How could King's glory possibly listen obediently? Long Fei still wanted to make some preparations for battle, but Long Fei thought, "Patriarch, have you seen him before?" Otherwise, how could he have known that he would be able to evolve into a 9 secret underworld finches the first time he saw the Dark Crow King? This was too strange. Yen Huang Ancestor smiled, faintly. "You will know in the future." Yen Huang Ancestor did not say it out loud. Actually, Dark Crow King was also from Chaos Realm. Long Fei felt unwell in his heart and said, "You're still hiding things from me, huh?" The Yen Huang Ancestor laughed. "It's not a secret. There's no use talking to you about it now. You'll know later. Hee hee." And then Yen Huang Ancestor's voice changed as he said in a serious tone, "Kid, let me say something now. With my current strength, I am still unable to make him evolve into a 9 secret underworld finches. I need a few things." Since Yen Huang Ancestor didn't say anything, Long Fei didn't press the matter further. The key thing to do now was to protect Crow King and say, "Tell me." "All right," Yen Huang Ancestor said lightly, "summon the God's Devil Ancient Case." Long Fei moved and did as he was told. The God's Devil Ancient Case flew out from the space ring and floated in midair, thick demonic chi surging out. Yen Huang Ancestor said, "Open the God's Devil Ancient Case and let him fly in." Long Fei continued to do as he was told and said, "Fly into the ancient box." Dark Crow King also did not hesitate as he withdrew the flames that filled the sky. With a cry, he flew into the midst of the God's Devil Ancient Case and landed in the air above the 10,000 Devil Lake. Dark Crow King was extremely shocked. 10,000 Devil Lake, this ancient box. The Yen Huang Ancestor said slightly, "The God's Devil Ancient Case possesses dense demonic energy. The energy in the 10,000 Devil Lake can also let him live for a few more days." Long Fei, in these 10 days, you have to find 3 things. Only by finding these 3 things can Dark Crow King evolve into a 9 secret underworld finches. His tone was very serious. Obviously, Yen Huang Ancestor was a little nervous. To Long Fei, this was his first time. Long Fei nodded his head and said, "Ancestor, speak." "One of them is the black tree that was burned just now. that is a tree of the earth with a heart of the earth inside. This is one of them. The second, dragon blood. This ice and fire's level is not high enough. Its blood is not enough to allow the Raven King to evolve. The third, the feather spirit. Feather spirits require a type of divine beast's feather. This kind of divine beast has a feather growing on its head that is a feather spirit. This kind of thing is even harder to obtain than dragon blood. Brat, I know that these things are very difficult for you, but even if I have to beg you, you must find a way to get these 3 things. Yan Huang ancestor begging. Long Fei was a little confused. How wild was the Yan Huang ancestor? He would beg. In the chaos realm, he was a tyrant, an arrogant person. Now, for a dark crow king, he was begging Long Fei. Long Fei was greatly shocked in his heart and said, Ancestor, what are you saying? Your matters are my matters. I will definitely use all my strength to find these 3 items. If not for the ancestor's help, he wouldn't be alive right now. Moreover, he also had to let the Dark Crow King evolve, because this was the only way he could save Xie. Xie was his savior. He had to save him. And then Long Fei landed beside the earth tree that was still burning. With a palm, he destroyed the big tree, and the heart of the earth tree floated up. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Tree of the Earth. You have obtained experience points, true chi points, and the credit points reward. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for reaching the S-level quest. Look for the Dragon Blood. Time of mission, 3 days mission level, S task reward, 10 million experience points, true chi 2 100,000 points, 10,000 points, obtained a special notification from the Feather of Spirit, and also received a free lottery draw. A quest. If I can find the Tree of the Earth and gain 1 million experience, then Dragon's Blood will have 10 million experience. Then wouldn't the Feather Spirit gain 100 million experience? Then I'll directly level up. Long Fei's heart skipped a beat. To be able to level up 1 level just because of 3 things, this task reward was simply too strong. Wait. Suddenly, Long Fei's mind sank, and he thought to himself, Dragon's Blood, I really want to see it somewhere else. Exchange points. Long Fei's mind lit up. He immediately opened up the credit exchange system and checked its contents. Looking at the shelf of Dragon Blood, his heart shivered, and he thought to himself, as expected, 1 point Dragon Blood meant 8 million points in exchange. Rob, 8 million points. I only have a few 100,000 points right now. It's not enough. It's far from enough. Long Fei was puzzled. Other than the Dragon Blood, Long Fei also searched for the Feather Spirit, but he couldn't find anything else. Huff. 8 million then. 8 million then. It's just a matter of the holy artifact. Long Fei glanced at the holy artifact among the space ring. Dragon Salyer, Heavenly Demon Set, Autumn Water, Thunder Dragon Rod, Death Calling God Seal, and Draw Slasher. Long Fei did not want to lose any of these things. Sigh. We should have kept more holy artifacts back then. Long Fei's heart tightened and said faintly, Ancestor, in the next period of time, you must not consume any more holy artifact, or else I really will not know where to find the Dragon's Blood. The Yan Huang ancestor nodded and said, Okay. Huff. The holy artifact, right? Long Fei mumbled as he turned around and rushed into the dark forest. A few minutes later, ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Dark Boar for obtaining 20 experience, 2 true chi, and 1 energy values. The Dark Wild Boar was a secondary demon beast. Now that Long Fei had leveled up, the low-level demon beast in the South Horizon region no longer had any experience. However, what Long Fei wanted right now wasn't experience, but striking energy value. 10 minutes later, his striking energy value had reached 100. Long Fei found a 5-level monster and sliced it open. Release your striking energy value. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei, Warrior Dark Spider King, for obtaining 300 experience points, 300 true chi, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the heaven-ranked technique, Binding Technique. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Spider King Dagger. Both items were heaven-tier equipment. Floating Life, Table of Contents, no windows. A++ Long Fei would exchange them all, but he had exchanged for less than 10,000 points. The difference was too great from 8 million. Seems like striking energy value isn't of much use to normal demon beast. I need to kill a boss first. Boss, where's the boss? Chapter 4. Thank you, Ming Yen and Big Yo-Yo, for your strong firepower support. Thank you. 8_8419/2356729. Long Fei needs. Long Fei needs incomparable need. The strongest boss in the Dark Forest is the Raven King. Other than him, I'm afraid there's no other boss stronger than him. The past Dark Canyon is the past Sea Devil Emperor, and the past Sea Devil Emperor is the past within the Demon Sea. Long Fei thought about it and said to himself, there must be a strong demon beast in the Demon Sea. As long as we kill 1 or 2 prehistoric sea demons, we will be able to produce quite a few holy artifacts, and we can exchange them for 8 million points. Ice and Fire! Ice and Fire rushed out. Long Fei pointed to the Demon Sea and said, let's go, Demon Sea. There was only one way to obtain dragon blood. Exchange. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to find. Where did dragon's blood come from? Dragon Domain. Where the Dragon Domain was, even the ghosts did not know. If they knew, Long Fei would have completed the SSS rank quest long ago, ordering the Dragon Clan to trample the entire Heaven Sect. The point exchange was his only option. Long Fei didn't want to use his existing holy artifact to exchange for points. He could only use the Berserk boss to get his own holy artifact. One day later, Long Fei stood on the side of the Devil's Sea and looked at the limitless and boundless ocean, muttering, there's only 2 days left. With such a large area, where am I going to find a boss? It was truly bitter. He was regretting that he should have left some holy artifact behind to prepare from time to time. Xiao Bai said, Master, I have a way. Long Fei immediately said, speak. Xiao Bai said, let's enter the deep sea area first, and then release the ice and fire. Let's let him fly close to the surface of the sea, and use him as bait. Bing said bitterly, why am I the bait? Xiao Bai grinned excitedly, because you're a dragon, you have no hair on you, and a bite is meat. I'm different, my entire body is fur. Eating a mouthful is not good. Hee hee. Not waiting for the fire and ice to refuse. Xiao Bai then said, ice and fire. Yi Zichen glared. The ice and fire immediately shriveled up and said unwillingly, fine. Xiao Bai smiled and said to Long Fei, Master, it's done. Long Fei stared at Xiao Bai and said, you really know how to bully people? Since you came up with this idea, you can implement it yourself. Xiao Bai. Long Fei asked, what's wrong? You have any objections? Long Fei's eyes stared wide and said, if you have any objections, then I'm going to use you to play the sunflower encyclopedia that is proud of the martial arts world. Xiao Bai immediately said, I will be the bait, and I am willing to sacrifice myself for Master's great goal. It was extremely painful, and then Xiao Bai walked to the surface of the water. He was already at level 10, and he had a slight grasp on the power of the wolf god. Standing on the water, it was like walking on flat ground. Long Fei stood on the back of the fire and ice while also flying close to the surface of the water. He had never been to the Demon Sea before, so it was best to be careful. No matter who it was, Long Fei would ensure his safety. Another day passed. Apart from a few low-level sea demons, there were no other boss-level sea demons. The highest-level sea demons were only at level 6 and had not even reached level 7. However, compared to the demon beast in the forest, the siren was much stronger. Moreover, Long Fei was still only on the surface of the sea. His cultivation would take at most 10 minutes to change into air at the seabed. He wouldn't be able to hold on for too long, but there were a lot of fierce beasts in the mountain and sea scripture, but the beast transformation system worked immediately, so he was not sure if he could turn into an underwater fierce beast. Rumble! Rumble! In the distance, thunderclouds billowed, lightning raged, and the sky quickly darkened. The storm is coming. Long Fei looked at the overturning sea surface in front of him and said, "Xiao Bai, do you want to return to War Pet space? Let's avoid this storm first." Without waiting for Long Fei to finish, Xiao Bai's nose twitched, and he immediately said, "Master, that isn't a storm, it's a giant-level beast." "Boss." Long Fei frowned. Looking at the raging ocean surface in front of him, he became instantly excited. "Ha ha ha. I finally found it." The surface of the sea was surging. Waves after waves of attacks came out. The closer they got, the stronger the aura of the siren became. It came crushing out again and again. Xiao Bai said again, "Master, it's not just one. I think there are 2 of them." "That's not right. He even wants someone by his side." What a strong aura. Xiao Bai's senses were far more sensitive than Long Fei's. He frowned and said faintly, "Master, this fellow might not be from the southern domain. The aura on his body is completely different from the auras of the martial practitioners from the southern domain." Long Fei said, "Who cares who he is? The boss is still mine. The last day, if he didn't raise all of the 1 million points, then the mission with the dragon's blood would fail, and the 10 million experience points would be. Moreover, he will also lose information on the feather spirit. Charge over." Ming, Xiao Bai, and the ice and fire added together quickly pushed their way to the center of the wave. The center of the huge wave emerged. One youth was like a flood dragon in the water. His agile body jumped back and forth between the 2 gigantic sea demons. In his hand was a weapon like water. He landed on the head of a level tiger shark and stared at the gigantic monster sea goblin in front of him. His heart skipped a beat, and he linked it to the tiger shark at his feet. Then, the tiger shark sank and disappeared into the whirlpool of seawater. The tiger shark was his war pet. It was a prehistoric beast, but compared to the sea demons of the monsters of the past, the tiger shark did not have much of an advantage. The youth hovered in midair as he stared at the siren. "I don't believe that I can't subdue you." At this moment, a voice came from the sky and said, "You still have 10 minutes. If you are unable to subdue him within that 10 minutes, your test will fail. In addition, let me remind you, there are 2 demon beasts and 1 person forcing their way in." Then, the sound disappeared. The youth frowned, his heart secretly moved, forcefully forcing my enlargement stroke. And then, the youth muttered to himself, "The power of the heavenly water is for me to use." Walala! Within the circumference of several hundred miles, the sea began to move erratically. Rumble! A huge wave of seawater rose into the sky. The water blade in his hand moved, and the sea water turned into a vicious beast. It roared as it heavily charged forward. At the same time, the tiger shark that had disappeared rushed out from the bottom of the sea like a harpoon. Double pincer attack. Rumble! With a flip of the sky, the gigantic siren emerges from the depths of its body. With a sweep of its tail in midair, it directly shatters the gigantic beast condensed from the heavenly water. The youth's eyes darkened. Again, it was also at this time Long Fei arrived and looked at the gigantic sea goblin that was flying in the sky, his face gloomy. Claw, Emperor. Golden light flashed. Level, it was a giant monster just like the one that was on the throne of the Dragon King. And this monster was even bigger and even more brutal than the one on the dragon throne. Long Fei grinned. I want to kill him. Chapter 5. Speaking of something, from the start, Hai Yang had rushed forward to the 1st of March to say something very, very clear. But why would there always be people stirring up trouble in the circles? Why am I not trustworthy? Would you please look at those flommers and spray again? Please? No. Table of contents 8_8419/2356730. It was the last day. If he didn't hurry, it would be too late. It was the last day. If he didn't hurry, it would be too late. Thus, Long Fei did not care about the young man who could control the water. He had to kill this Ao Gu Emperor now. Xiao Bai, ice and fire. The two of them shouted at the same time. Understood. The aura of the wolf god on Xiao Bai's body stirred, and a huge face immediately appeared in the sky. The wolf god's spear locked onto the imperial claw and directly smashed downwards. Crack! The outer space power was like that of a lightning bolt striking down from the sky. During this period of time, Xiao Bai's strength had increased a little. A few thousand spirit stones could be considered as not having been eaten for nothing. The youth frowned and shouted, "Who are you? Don't you know this guy is mine?" It was obvious that he was somewhat angry. This was his test, and he had to kill this imperial claw within 10 minutes. Otherwise, his test would be a failure. Long Fei rode on his ice and fire as he rose into the air and said lightly, "I know it's yours, but I'll help you kill it." Whoosh, whoosh. S idea that was linked to the ice and fire was released with a move of his idea S. Ice and fire 9 heavens. First stage, burning ice. Boom. The sky rotated, and the 9 heavens rotated out layer by layer. Finally, a beam of light descended from the sky and struck the Ao Huang Emperor at the same time as the wolf god's lance. Rumble. Rumble. Greater than sign. 2 damage values burst out, but the Imperial Claw Emperor's health was also shown. Looking at that long bloody groove, Long Fei was about to go crazy. He was so excited that he was about to go crazy. 30 million HP, boss. It must be a level boss. Ha ha ha. If I kill him, I will definitely explode. Long Fei was extremely excited. Second preparation. Prepare your second skill, ready to fire at any time. Ice and fire thunderbolt. Fire. Before the 9-layered heavens disappeared, the second layer began to revolve like crazy. 8 seconds later, the second layer came rolling down like an enormous machine. Long Fei said loudly. The sky seemed like it was about to explode, now, as an even more powerful I won't be able to make it in time. Bombarded down. The boss had to be stolen. Another heavy strike landed on the body of the Imperial Claw. Other people would usually not interfere with the bosses that they found, but today was a little special. Who was in the sky. He had been searching for a boss for 3 days straight, but he still hadn't found one. Flashed if he had missed it again, his dragon blood quest would have failed. He had never seen this kind of power before. He could only rob them. This youth was somewhat angry as he said. If that's the case, this was a monster that the Lin clan had raised for an examination over 100 years ago, and his hands formed a crazy dragon, and one person around him began to wildly churn. Heavenly the youth loudly said, force, "This is my assessment mission. 10,000 beast condensation. Time was running out. Open if he couldn't pass the examination. Then, one after another, the youth was slightly anxious. Beasts that were over 100 meters tall rushed out from the surface of the sea, forming an army made up entirely of seawater. This power, too terrifying. Everywhere his gaze passed, he saw huge beasts. It let out a deafening roar, and even the imperial claw let out a trembling roar. Long Fei's heart tensed up. F***K. It's an earth-shattering power. The youth reminded him once again, I'll remind you one more time. If you leave now, you'll be in a rush. Long Fei grinned and laughed excitedly, saying, Come then. The youth was stunned for a moment. He also became excited and said, Then be careful. He didn't know why. The young man had a very good impression of Long Fei. This feeling was very special. Long Fei was the same as well. He was more concerned with the power that the youth had, who could withstand such a huge array made of beasts. Invincible in the water, Yan Huang ancestor's voice sounded. God's water tribe, the overlord of water. This young man. It's not simple. Long Fei's heart secretly tensed up. God's water tribe? Qian Shui. It's as if I've heard of these two words somewhere. He is indeed not simple. It's not simple at all. Long Fei, who was so angry that a huge beast was roaring from the surroundings, frowned. How can this kind of power be simple? I can't care so much anymore. Three-rate peerless technique. Boom. Long Fei made a grasping motion with his right hand, and the dark dragon salure flew out. Then, Long Fei's idea sank, and the dragon salure fiercely lashed out. With a flick of its body, it immediately formed a tornado above the sea level. The true Qi rushed in and roared loudly, Tornado berserk slash, whoosh whoosh whoosh. Asterisk, as the tornado grew larger, Long Fei made a grasping motion with his left hand, and the god's devil blade appeared. His body started to spin rapidly. Boom. Boom. The dark dragon salure energy and the blood-red god's devil blade energy crazily interweaved and formed a huge tornado. Those huge beasts that charged forward were immediately crushed into water. Waves after waves of crashes. The youth's eyes shined as he excitedly said, So strong. However, I'm stronger. The youth moved his finger, and a drop of blood fell onto the water. The aura he was exuding suddenly changed. Boom. The water swallowed him. Half a second later, the sea began to shake violently. Furthermore, the entire surface of the sea was tilting. This was not overturning the sky, but overturning the sea. The youth was in the sea. He looked at Long Fei and laughed. Take another hit of mine. Long Fei's gaze tightened as he looked at the huge wave that was swept up. It covered the sky and covered the sun. Master! Master, run! Xiao, Bai, and ice and fire became nervous. The surface of the sea was too huge, and it still covered the entire area. Long Fei's breathing grew heavy. Whoosh! The draw slasher flew out. Sister-in-law, 1-/ plus health, strongest upgrade system, Long Fei's true Qi moved, and rushed into the center of the draw slasher. He closed his eyes and slowly let out a breath of air, calming down his heart, and in a second, Long Fei's idea exploded. Little Li's flying daggers. Break. He stabbed his blade into the huge wave. Chapter 18_8419/2356731 The draw slasher moved. The draw slasher moved. The moment it stabbed into the sky overturning wave, the true chi that Long Fei poured in suddenly exploded, exploding. The draw slasher was also suddenly 10,000 times larger. The bloody light and the saber shadows wreaked havoc in the seawater. Rumble! 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 A deafening roar came from the giant wave that covered the entire sky. It continued to explode as the youth in the water continued to retreat. Finally, puffed, the youth spat out a mouthful of blood. His entire body shot out from the huge wave and fell back. However, he did not sink into the sea. He is the god's water tribe. He had been able to control the power of water since birth. Even if they died, their bodies wouldn't sink to the bottom. Long Fei let out a sigh of relief and asked guiltily, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine. I'm not going to die yet." The youth didn't wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth. Instead, he looked at Long Fei with incomparable excitement and muttered, "You're really strong. Among the younger generation, you are the strongest I've ever seen." There was only excitement in his eyes. He had always thought that he was a peerless genius. In the water, he was a peerless existence, but today he had finally witnessed it. The youth looked at Long Fei and started laughing excitedly. "Awesome! This is too awesome! Ha ha ha!" Long Fei also excitedly laughed out loud. Ha ha ha! At this moment, the Ao Huang Emperor, who was always being ignored, was enraged. He flung his huge body and opened his bloody mouth, biting towards the youth. He was furious, as if to say, "I am the main character." Long Fei's face changed. The youth had just been severely injured, so if the Ao Huang were to attack him at this moment, teleport. Shua! Long Fei rushed out and landed on the surface of the sea. Without waiting for the claws to fall, the dragon-slaying slash fell from Long Fei's hands. Dark Fury Dragon slash. Buzz. Inside the dragon sallier, a bit of Dragon God's profound chi fell. Dark Dragon God's eyes slightly opened. The image of the Dark Dragon God on the back of the dragon sallier shot out, directly slashing towards the Claw's Emperor. Boom. The dark energy blade came slashing down. It directly cut a long bloody wound on the back of the Ao Huang, fresh blood bursting out in a straight line. Woo! The Imperial Claw let out a painful scream and immediately dove into the water. "Thank you. However, you are underestimating me." The youth gave an excited smile as he dove into the water like a torpedo. "You want to escape? Get the hell up here." An angry roar erupted from the depths of the sea. Next, the surface of the sea rose up, and the Imperial Claw was flung out of the water, taking advantage of that moment. Long Fei flew out. Dragon Chop. 480 slashes. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk in midair. The black lightning danced wildly. That Imperial Claw was unmoving, as if it was floating in midair. The youngster broke through the surface of the water and looked at Long Fei, who was furiously slashing in the air, his face filled with shock. "So strong, so strong. I never thought that there would be such a strong person in the Demon Sea. This is too exciting." Admiration, incomparable admiration. Long Fei's final slash smashed the Ao Huang heavily onto the surface of the sea. The dragon sallier withdrew its claws and moved its fists. Mountain hit fist. The shadow of the large power King Kong ape superimposed onto it and heavily smashed it. He blasted the Imperial Claw into the water. At this moment, the last sliver of blood on its head disappeared. Long Fei exhaled a breath of air. "Release your striking energy value. Explode." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for slaying Imperial Claw. You have obtained 1 experience point, true chi point, and energy values point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Claw Divine Trident. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Claw God Whip. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining Ao Huang Blood Vein. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Imperial Claw Heart. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Jade Wave Wheel. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward from the Mountain Sea Beast Transformation Mode system. Rewards: Beast Transformation into Imperial Claw. The system sounded out continuously. The last prompt startled Long Fei, and he thought to himself, the Beast Transformation Mode system is random. The reward is specific, which means that the strange beast in my next beast transformation will definitely be the Ao Huang Emperor, the one I just killed. Ha ha! Awesome! This Claw Emperor was extremely powerful. If the youth didn't come out from the water, he definitely wouldn't have been able to kill it. At the same time, Long Fei took a look at the items that burst out. Phew! 3 holy artifact. S should be enough. Exchange points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for using Claw Divine Trident to exchange for credit point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for using God's Claw Whip to exchange for credit point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for using Jade Wave Wheel to exchange for credit point. 803 points for the 100,000 points. 3 holy artifact. Long Fei muttered in his heart, my liver hurts. Moreover, the holy artifact that Long Fei had released did not even dare to look at their stats because he was afraid that it would see those powerful stats and his liver would feel even more pain. The idea moved again. Ding! Dragon blood. Ding! Player Long Fei has successfully exchanged 4 dragon blood, deducted 8 million points. Looking at his over 8 million points disappearing in an instant, not only was Long Fei's liver pain excruciating, there was no place in his body that was not painful at all. It was too unbearable. Ding! Congratulations, player Long Fei, for completing the Blood of the Dragon quest. You have gained 10 million experience. You have gained True Chi 2 100,000 points, 10,000 points, free of charge. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining information on Feather of the Spirit, Yu Ling Island. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the Feather of the Spirit quest. Mission level. SS, time of mission. 6 days, task reward. 100 million experience points, 500,000 true chi, special prize once, 3 times at least. As expected, Long Fei's mind stirred. He became excited. 100 million experience. After completing the mission, I can immediately level up, but it's just that. Where is the Yuling Island? At this moment, the youth landed beside Long Fei, looked at him carefully, and said, I know where Yuling Island is. Huh. Long Fei looked at the youth. Suddenly, there was a yellow floating above the youth's head. This was the symbol of a mission. Long Fei moved and clicked it. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the quest. Subdue Lin Yusheng. Mission level S. Table of contents /float * life. Task reward 10,000 experience points, 1,000 true chi, special reward. Long Fei became excited. Ha! Is that one of the King Kong of the 8 King Kong systems? Chapter 2 Lin Yusheng, your god. S. Water King Kong has appeared. 8_8419/2356732. In this instant, Long Fei finally understood why the word Sky Water was so familiar, because, amongst the 8 King Kong systems, there was a King Kong called the God, S. Water King Kong. No wonder the ancestor said, he wasn't simple. Which of the 8 Vajra is simple? Li Yuanba of the Titan god blood vein, born with godly strength, is a holy King Kong. The reincarnation of the Holy Buddha, the power of evil, the reincarnation of hell, called the demon fighter Vajra. Then what kind of power would he have? Long Fei saw the abnormal excitement in the youth's heart, just like a gay man seeing a gay man. Lin Yusheng took a step back and said, I'm not gay. Zhang Xian's body shuddered. He muttered to himself, does this expert have any special hobbies? Long Fei's face was full of excitement as he said, I'm not gay either, hee. Her smile was very vulgar, really very vulgar, as though she wanted to swallow Lin Yusheng whole. Lin Yusheng took another step back, maintaining a distance from Long Fei. He said, aren't you from the Demon Sea? What are you going to the Yu Ling Island for? It was also at this time. Rumble. There was a loud noise in the sky as a huge wave appeared on the surface of the sea. The huge wave turned around and condensed into a huge water column. An angry elder stood on top of the water column as he said with a deep voice, the assessment has failed. Lin Yusheng knelt down and said sincerely, I am sorry, Patriarch. I have disappointed you. The elder was still furious and said, Humph, you have disgraced the entire God's Water tribe. Not only did you act as you pleased during the assessment, you even colluded with an outsider. What do you take the assessment to be? What did you do to the immortals of the God Emperor Academy? Lin Yusheng, from now on, you are no longer a disciple of the Lin family of Tianshui, and the Lin family no longer has a disciple like you. Lin Yusheng's expression changed, and he said, Patriarch, I will definitely give my all next time. I will definitely pass the God Emperor Academy's entrance exam. Humph. The old man waved his sleeves and interrupted. Next time? You won't have a next time. God Emperor Academy's immortal won't come to the God's Water tribe anymore. Lin Yusheng, you have truly disappointed me. Pain. Looking forward to 100 years. Only then did the immortals of the God Emperor Academy come. They had to waste everything for this day, but he had failed. The hope for the rise of the God's Water tribe had failed once again. Lin Yusheng had been entrusted with too much hope. Long Fei took a step forward and apologized sincerely. Senior, all of this was because of me. If I didn't appear, he would have definitely passed the examination. If there's anything I can do, I'm willing to do it with all my might. Long Fei looked at the depressed Lin Yusheng, who picked him up from the ground, and asked, I won't say anything else, I'll just ask you, do you want to return to the clan? Do you want the clan to rise to prominence again? Do you want your clansmen to burn you again? Lin Yusheng was very close to Long Fei. F***CK. That's not the point. Long Fei said, the main point is, do you want to? Lin Yusheng nodded, yes. However, can you stay away from me? I'm really not gay. Lin Yusheng turned her 2 cheeks to the side, showing a painful expression, and said, I'll at most let you kiss me once. This is the limit of my tolerance. Damn! Long Fei scolded. Lin Yusheng immediately tightened her chrysanthemum and said, plugging is absolutely impossible. If you dare, brother, can you not be like this? I'm really not gay. Long Fei. Long Fei was extremely puzzled. When did I become a gay man? However, seeing Lin Yusheng like this, Long Fei was relieved to be able to tell from his resolute gaze that he would definitely succeed in the next examination. He will definitely make the God's Water tribe rise in power. Long Fei smiled lightly and said, take me to Yu Ling Island first. Lin Yusheng looked into the distance, sighed, and said, all right, since I'm going all out, I'll go to the Yu Ling Island and die on the island. Huh. Strongest upgrade system. What's the situation if he dies up there? Lin Yusheng said, that's the Death Land. Long Fei thought, the difficulty of the SS rank mission is indeed different, but when can you let me gather all 8 great King Kong? Ancestor, what kind of powerful energy does this fellow have that has yet to awaken? Chapter 38_84/2356733. This is not a game. This is not a game. Furthermore, it was not the League of Legends. However, even in his dreams, Long Fei had never thought that there would be a scarecrow in this world, and a This was completely against common sense. Long Fei was also trapped. Bam. Bam. Those who have just come ashore should be those who are heading towards the immortal domain. What? Only so little money. Is there something wrong with that? No matter what, I should just give them more. Sure, you're awesome, right? I'm afraid it's not enough. In a daze, Long Fei heard a few voices conversing. A pot-bellied man suddenly said like a slave owner, drag them down, then when the battle starts, throw them into the water to feed the sharks and make those tiger shark become excited. Yes, sir. Ha ha ha. The hour is up. The dwarf shouted loudly, now we have the God Emperor Academy immortals. As soon as he finished, the entire stands suddenly became still. A white-browed elder stood in midair, quietly landing in the air above the beast battling arena, and said slightly, Victory, I can take him into the God Emperor Academy for the assessment. There is only one chance. Immortal chi swirled around him, making him look incredibly powerful. Is this the immortal domain's innate rancor? Look at the unique aura on his body. Seems like there really are people from the God Emperor Academy in this Yuling Island. I want to participate. God Emperor Academy is the #1 academy in the immortal domain and is also one of the top academies in the Sky Martial Continent. Those that can enter are all geniuses amongst geniuses, and just the examination quota alone can reach the value of 10 million spirit stones. This is just the examination quota. If I want to participate, God Emperor Academy's examination quota must be mine. While they were talking, whoosh, whoosh, countless rays of light fell down from the stands, and no one was moved at first. They even started to suspect if there really was a spot for the God Emperor Academy's examination. Now, they did not have to doubt it at all. The immortal stage experts of the God Emperor Academy had already appeared. Was there still a need to worry? Countless youths landed in the center of the arena. They all said, let's begin. The dwarf host was immediately surrounded. He continuously retreated and fell, his movements extremely comical. In the end, another careless fall into the water. Those tiger shark bit at it crazily. After half a second, a bloody bubble appeared, and there was no longer any reaction. Ha ha ha. Boss, second brother is dead. Now, it's my turn to fight. At the entrance, the dwarf appeared again. It was obviously a person. The disciples on the stage completely ignored him and said, let's start quickly. We can't wait any longer. Exactly. Hurry up, the God Emperor Academy's spot is mine. The people on the stage were clamoring nonstop. At the same time, there were quite a few experts in the stands quietly waiting. With a sneer on their faces, they silently thought to themselves, a bunch of idiots rushing to their deaths so early in the morning. The dwarf gave a small smile and said, there's no need to worry, boss. Second brother has already spoken for so long, at least allow me to say a few more words. The rule of the competition is that there are no rules. The last survivor will be rewarded. Remember, it's the last person, and there's only one spot for the reward. Do you understand? The eager competitors were already rubbing their hands together. unable to wait any longer. They were all geniuses from different places. The only reason they came to this place was to train in the immortal domain. If they were able to enter the God Emperor Academy, then that would be their lifelong dream. These people were extremely talented. At the same time, another characteristic was that most of these people were very, very rich. Rich. There was a holy artifact. There were all kinds of blood vein. There was a huge amount of spirit stones. If all these treasures were gathered together, then, in the darkness, each one of them revealed a sinister smile and said coldly, "Looks like we can make a huge profit again. Hee hee. Island Lord, this batch of people are not bad. I've already investigated a few people. They are all disciples from large sects and big families. They all have all kinds of strange treasures on them. And this time they are going to earn big." The leader smiled sinisterly. "With these treasures, I will be able to refine." After saying that, he did not finish his sentence, but said coldly, "It's about time to throw in the bait." "Yes, sir." Walala, walala. 2 pots of ice-cold water splashed down, and Long Fei and Lin Yusheng woke up. Lin Yusheng still shouted out loudly, "Be careful of the tramp behind you." "What is this place?" Lin Yusheng's face tensed up. Long Fei said slightly, "We were probably captured and then sold here. We just don't know why they arrested us." "Ah, ha, ha. The reason for capturing you is very simple." A pot-bellied man walked out with a ferocious smile and said, "Then I'll send you all to heaven." As soon as he finished, his voice was low as he said, "Hang their cages." Walala, walala. The sound of a chain being pulled rang out. Long Fei looked around and saw that they were all in a huge iron cage. Inside the cage, there were more than 10 people, not only him and Lin Yusheng. "What's going on?" Lin Yusheng frowned. A man in the cage said softly, "We are going to be thrown into the tiger shark's pond, right in front of the bait. We are going to make those tiger shark become unusually excited and make them even more crazy." Tiger shark pool. Long Fei's heart trembled. "Ha ha ha. We are going to die. We are going to die. I didn't expect the magnificent me to be here. I didn't expect that I would be the #1 genius of the training hall. To die in this place, sigh, I am still the #1 genius of the fierce tiger sect. So what? The Yuling Island is a huge conspiracy. What bullsh * T God Emperor Academy's examination quota. It's just a huge scam. We were all tricked." Lin Yusheng looked at Long Fei and asked, "What do we do?" Long Fei said slightly, "Don't be anxious. Let's see what we'll encounter first." At this moment, the door was opened by a blinding light. 2 huge iron cages were pushed out. It was also at this time the dwarf ordered, "Let the battle commence. Throw the iron cage." The tiger shark was extremely fierce upon seeing the iron cage. It continuously jumped out of the water, as if it was injected with chicken blood. In the stands, the Scarecrow and Tree Man giggled, pointing at Long Fei and Lin Yusheng in the iron cage. They laughed out loud. "Those 2 people we captured." Long Fei's gaze tensed up. The idea moved. "Give me your blade." Schwa equals half carrot float. Hashtag life. Carrot the dragon Salyer landed in his hands. The scarecrows and the dryads? Blast you all. Give me a golden body, you motherfucker. Chapter 5. Thank you, Ming Yen, Big Yo-Yo, Little Egg, Old Nazue, and the other brothers for their great support. And also thank the brothers who voted. Thank you, everyone. 8_8419/2356735. With the dragon Salyer in his hands, the dark energy lingered around him. With the dragon Salyer in his hands, the dark energy lingered around him. Hey, This kid has good stuff on him. The slave owner muttered to himself, but was soon relieved. He smiled and said, "The good stuff is ours too. Open the iron cage. Let our tiger shark get excited." With a command from the slave owner, the cage slowly began to open up. At the same time, the dwarf shouted, for the God Emperor Academy's examination quota, "Go crazy! Let the competition begin. Kill." The sound was like a fuse that lit the entire arena ablaze. In that instant, when the battle began, not a single one could be retracted. Good, how exciting. Lin Yusheng looked at Xiang Longfei and said, "Brother, I'll go down first." "Wait a moment." Finished. He jumped straight into the tiger shark pool. Immediately after, a few prisoners fell in, but the moment they fell in, they turned into a pool of blood and never got up again. Lin Yusheng was the god's water tribe. Moreover, if he was not wrong, he should be the god. Water King Kong. He can control the water element as he pleases, and those tiger shark could not do anything to him. Long Fei was not worried. Right now, he was angry because of the smug, excited scarecrow and tree spirit in the stands. Is he smug? Kill. The dragon salyer in Long Fei's hand moved, immediately chopping the iron cage in half. It leaped into the air, not thinking of landing on the stage, but into the stands. The dragon salyer moved. The black blade chi raged out, locking onto the scarecrow. Long Fei bellowed, "You dare to scam me? Die." The basic equipment for scarecrows should be Zhongya Gold Body, right? If he could get something like this out, it would be really satisfying. The scarecrow and the dryad jumped in fright. Their faces turned pale, and they almost hugged each other. However, plop, Long Fei crashed into a thick array as his blade energy completely disintegrated. It was as if his entire body had crashed into a thick piece of glass. Uff, as he hit the air shield, he spat out a mouthful of blood and slowly slid off the air shield S. At this moment, the scarecrow and the tree spirit immediately fell back and forth laughing, pointing at Long Fei as they clapped and laughed. "Ha ha, ha ha ha. You want to kill me? You are still very young. Ha ha ha. Are you qualified? Don't you know that only those who enter the beast battling arena can enter? Ha ha ha. Idiot, retard, retard, retard. I'm dying of laughter. Do you think we were afraid of you? Ha ha ha." The two of them almost burst out laughing. Seeing Long Fei collide with the array, they all laughed complacently. He looked exceptionally pleased with himself. "Brat, you should try the taste of the tiger shark." Ha ha. "You want to kill us? How could we possibly be killed by trash like you?" The darkness aura he emitted was like that of a devil's. His gaze turned cold. Long Fei took a step forward, and with a single step, he landed right beside the dwarf. The dragon salyer pressed down on the dwarf's shoulder with a weight of 103,000 kilograms. You don't need to. Hero, I'm still a virgin. Please don't. It sounded like he was about to be forced out. Long Fei asked, "Will we be able to obtain the God Emperor Academy's examination quota after winning this hegemony battle?" "Yes, sir." Yes, 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 of course." The dwarf muttered, "I thought you were planning to plot against me. You scared me to death. My little heart is beating wildly." Long Fei sheathed his blade and turned to look at the people who were constantly killing each other, and thought to himself, it doesn't matter if Lin Yusheng is a god, Water King Kong or not, he is still advising him to be the first in the God Emperor Academy to take the examination. Immediately, Long Fei held onto the blade with one hand. The blade's dark aura continued to burn, and the burning black flames enveloped him as well. "Kill!" Long Fei took a step forward and roared in his heart, "Three-rate peerless technique." Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life's strongest upgrade system. Boom. When the eightfold elemental energy was released, the dragon Salyer raised its head, and its true chi surged. A wave of dark, true chi lashed out, and the blade chi started to spin violently. A black tornado. Kill. Chapter 18_84/2356736. Break the formation, kill scarecrows? Break the formation, kill scarecrows? Wait a moment. Long Fei had to first take down this battle for hegemony. Because of him, Lin Yuxing missed a God Emperor Academy exam. This was what Long Fei owed him. Since he owed them, he would pay them back. Therefore, what Long Fei wanted to do now was to kill them and seize control of the battle. The black tornado started spinning crazily. The more they rolled, the larger they became. In the end, Long Fei charged into the tornado and floated above the eye of the storm. What an arrogant tone. A mere war master Reem dares to be so arrogant. I'll kill him. An expert of war, Emperor Level 1 entered the tornado. Crack! In less than half a second, his head flew off, and his eyes were filled with fury. He did not even know that he had died like that. The entire audience suddenly went silent. Long Fei's arrogant voice came out again and said, "Who else? Let's attack together. Kill him." Dozens of warriors on the stage charged into the dark tornado together. Long Fei floated at the highest point, as if he was the god who ruled over everything. The corner of his mouth slightly curled, his left hand grabbed, taking out the god's devil blade, as he coldly laughed. Black tornado. Berserk slash. All of you must die. He turned around. The chi of the demonic saber, the aura of the dragon Salyer reddened, and the black intertwined together and crazily massacred. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A rain of blood burst out, filling the entire arena. Rumble! A loud sound echoed out. As Long Fei's voice fell, he stood on the stage, causing the center of the stage to crack. With him at the center, the entire stage was filled with blood a meter away. Dozens of people were killed in the arena. Long Fei slowly raised his eyes and arrogantly roared out, "Who else?" The entire hall was silent. There was no sound at all. The entire beast battle arena was being suppressed by Long Fei alone. What a terrifying aura. At this moment, Long Fei's were pet space. Ha ha ha. Oh my God. Is today the new year? Today I want to eat meat. I am tired of eating spirit stones every day. Today I also want to eat holy artifact, or something. Xiao Bai laughed excitedly. Yan Huang ancestor directly swallowed a large wave of weapons and equipment into his mouth and shouted, "You two little things can only eat spirit stones. Everything else will go to me." Ha ha. Xiao Bai and the ice and fire suddenly withered away. The Yan Huang ancestor became excited. Today is a new year. With so many good things, I can finally have a feast. Dozens of people were killed instantly by Long Fei. They exploded. Without using any striking energy value at all, what was revealed right now were piles upon piles of items. They were all tycoons, second-generation wealthy, and all of them were so rich that they were flowing with oil. Long Fei also did not expect it to explode into such a state. However, what was even more unexpected was that before he had the chance to check the stats of these items, they were basically all divided up. In his previous life, Long Fei felt like he was living a life where one could only count the money, and his hands would start spasming. It could not be achieved in his previous life, but in this life, facing the piles and piles of precious artifacts, he thought that he could get away with it, but sigh. Long Fei tilted his head upwards and looked at the sky with a 45-year-old look and muttered Why do I have the urge to die? Don't. Whose do we eat if you die? Yen Huang ancestor shamelessly said. Xiao Bai also said, Master, you must not be too preoccupied with this matter. At most, I won't eat too many spirit stones today, but I will make up for it tomorrow. The ice and fire were very real. He directly said, Master, if you die, we will starve to death. Long Fei. Who are they? Forget it. Since he was already used to the liver pain, Long Fei was already numb to it. Looking at the mission, Long Fei managed to kill all of them, but did not complete it. Long Fei's gaze swept across and shouted once more, I only ask one question. Who else is there? His voice carried the sound of the heavenly note break as it reverberated in the air above the Colosseum. Long Fei was simply too arrogant and tyrannical. In the darkness. That sinister smile on his face turned cold. Supreme artifact of the South Horizon region? Unexpectedly. To think that someone who didn't expect to beat the Long family actually appeared. That pair of sinister eyes looked like they were about to spit fire. His hands were tightly holding the dragon head on the chair, and the dragon head was crushed. The killing intent from his body caused the surrounding people to kneel down heavily. This was too powerful. Half a moment later, the killing intent on his body receded. An elder heaved a sigh of relief and asked, Island Lord, which Long family is he from? The island master coldly replied, There is only one Long family in the entire South Horizon region. Long family of the Fireglass City S have once killed a divine darkness dragon, and they have used its divine dragon's blood essence to refine Dragon Salyer S. More than 10 years ago, a man who looks almost exactly like him is here. He's basically crushing the entire Colosseum just like him, and as he spoke, his body started to tremble nonstop. Anger. He was incomparable rage. He lowered his head to look at his legs. There was no thigh in his pants. Both his legs had been crippled. It was crippled by someone called Long Janting. Otherwise, he wouldn't have to be trapped on this dead island. It was just like yesterday. The island master laughed coldly. I never thought I would meet someone from Long family in my lifetime. Good, very good, very good. Back then my legs were crippled. Today, I want to cripple both his legs and hands. I want to use an urn to raise him. I want him to live in hell for the rest of his life. Ha ha ha. The island lord laughed wildly. At this time, in the beast battling arena, Long Fei's gaze turned as he stared at the dwarf. No one is coming down. I've won. The dwarf was stunned for a moment. Just then, an idea entered his ears. And then, the dwarf looked shocked and said loudly, Our island lord is very happy today. So, in today's war of hegemony, he decided to add on the rewards. Other than the position of the first God Emperor Academy, there is also something like a sword. As soon as he finished, whoosh, a sword flew out of the darkness. Buzz, buzz. Sword hums erupted. The entire beast battle arena was enveloped by the sword hums and instantly destroyed Long Fei's chi. Long Fei's gaze darkened. In that instant, Long Fei was shocked. Zhuge sword? It was exactly the same as the Zhuge sword in a game. The only difference was that this Zhuge sword did not have enough momentum, but its appearance was definitely that of a Zhuge sword. The dwarf looked shocked as he thought in his heart, how did he know this was a Zhuge sword? And then the dwarf said loudly, That's right, this is the legendary Zhuge sword. Table of contents, not waiting for him to finish. The entire audience was in an uproar. Zhuge sword, the existence of supreme artifact. Chapter 28_8419/2356737. Sky Martial Continent. Sky Martial Continent. 5 Supreme Artifact S. the supreme dragon knife of the South Horizon region, Immortal Domain's Shuga sword. As for the other 3 areas, they all had a supreme artifact. These 5 godly weapons could make any warrior go crazy. The whereabouts of the 5 divine weapons were all mysterious existences. Even if the dragon salyer in Long Fei's hands appeared, not many people would recognize it. The reason was the dragon salyer in Long Fei's hands did not wield the same level of destructive power that it had previously used against the dragon god, an evil demon in the hands of the ancestors of the Long family. This was also because of this. As the first generation of the dragon salyer pass away, its power also weakened bit by bit. If no one could activate the power in its body, it would slowly weaken. Finally, after 10,000 years, the dragon salyer had completely lost its former might, and it was only because of this that it was split into 2 by the dragon slayer god. He was reborn after being exterminated. The current dragon salyer had merged back into one under the power of the Yen Huang ancestor, but he had not completely recovered his strength. He was still leveling up. When it truly becomes a supreme artifact, then that would be the time for anyone to compete with it. Many people thought that the dragon salyer in Long Fei's hands was only a copy. The entire audience was shocked. All of their gazes were fixated on the Zhuge sword floating in the air. Their eyes were dull and filled with greed. Zhuge sword, the supreme artifact of Immortal Domain. Who doesn't want it? Is it really a Zhuge sword? The Zhuge sword that disappeared within the Immortal Cliff. This is still not the territory of the Immortal Domain. Why would it be here? That's right, that's a Zhuge sword. I've seen it on the treasure mirror before. It looks exactly the same as the Zhuge sword in front of me. Even if it isn't a Zhuge sword, it is still an ordinary holy artifact treasure sword. They were all shocked. It was also at this moment an old man moved through the air, transforming into a stream of light, and said with a smile, "Even though this old one will not be able to enter the God Emperor Academy at my age, but this old one is very interested in this Zhuge sword. Little brother, you admitted defeat yourself? Or should I do it?" The old man held a purplish-blue sword in his hand. It constantly flashed with a purplish-blue light. The aura emitted from his body was also very strange. At this moment, a person in the stands shouted out in shock, "Old Man Tianshu? Old Man Tianshu? You mean the heavenly void rancor, who can freely travel? Why is he here? Didn't he die a long time ago? Since he's already come, this brat should be the first one." Hearing this voice, the previously nervous scarecrow and tree man immediately relaxed. They had almost peed their pants from Long Fei's black tornado earlier on. Now, they were extremely pleased with themselves as they said, "Kid, continue. Let's see how long you can jump for." Long Fei's gaze turned slightly as he looked at the old man in the sky and laughed, "Let alone you being the old man in the sky. Even if you are empty, lonely, and hate the old man, I will still kill you no matter what." What an arrogant tone. The voice of the sky void faded. Shwa. His figure disappeared. Just at this moment, Long Fei frowned. He could not feel the existence of the heavenly void at all. It was as if the world had steamed up. This kind of power was indeed very special. It was at this moment Yen Huang ancestor chewed on the holy artifact and said, "Left side." Long Fei moved, punching out explosively. It blasted straight into the void. Bam! Puffed. A firm fist landed on the chest of the heavenly void elder and struck him, sending him flying. In the midst of the lightning, Long Fei moved the dragon salyer. Dragon chop. Swish, swish. Swish, swish, swish. After slashing 481 times, Old Man Tianshu was left with only a skeleton as he fell into the tiger shark's pool. It was also at this time Long Fei gave a disdainful sneer and said, "Old Man Tianshu, even if it's fear of the void, I will still kill. Uffed. He spat out a mouthful of saliva. Old man Tianxiu was instantly killed. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Old Man Tianxiu for obtaining 10 experience points, true chi points, 10 ability points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Staff of the Void. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for gaining 1 additional points in the battle for hegemony. Long Fei's heart stirred, and he said, "Leave the Void Staff for me." When Yan Huang Ancestor heard Long Fei, he put it back and muttered, "This kind of Void Staff is just trash. If I used even the slightest bit of idea, I would be able to sense its location. Heaven Void. I think it really is an empty old man." Yan Huang Ancestor was very disdainful. Long Fei rolled his eyes and said, "To you, I'm a trash. But to me, I'm different." The so-called Old Man Tianxiu was completely relying on this scepter to put on a show. But this guy's cultivation was not weak, but he would be a fool if he met Yan Huang Ancestor. Long Fei swept his gaze across them and asked, "Who else? This is too arrogant." Another old man flew down. His gaze was like lightning. He stared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, it's better if you keep a low profile." "Is that so? Then I'm really sorry. This young master has always been such a high-profile person. Are you not convinced? Come, bite me if you can't accept it." Long Fei laughed in disdain. "What are you pretending to be a big-tail wolf for? What arrogance? What low profile? Aren't you trying to fight for the reward? Why step on me to emphasize your nobility? It's just like how you keep a low profile." The old man frowned. "A sharp tongue. I just don't like it when a junior like you dares to act so impudently in front of me. If I don't teach you a lesson today, don't you know how big the sky is and how thick the land is?" As soon as he finished, the old man's movement technique exploded outwards. Very quickly. It was as fast as lightning. Not only that, the heavy pressure from his body frenziedly rushed over. Long Fei's body sank. Shwa, shwa. The god's devil blade appeared in his left hand. Autumn water bit into his mouth. Both of his eyes darkened, and like a ghost, the chi on Long Fei's body suddenly moved, and he spoke in a gloomy tone, 3 blade streams. Ghost slash, shwa. The 3 kinds of saber chi moved and attacked like ghosts and gods. Soon, he was even faster than the old man. The old man's expression shook. What kind of blade technique is this? I've never seen it before. Moreover, at the moment of shock, he slashed 3 times with his saber. Intense pain racked his entire body, and his body exploded as well. Without waiting for him to stand firm, Long Fei retracted his blade and jumped into the sky. He formed a battle axe with his fists and struck down heavily with the illusion of a large power King Kong ape. Rumble! Mountain hit fist. Long Fei threw a punch down and scolded, "I don't know how good the sky is, you F** king know?" Bam! "I don't know how thick the land is, but you do?" Bam! After a series of critical hits, the amount of blood on the old man's head rapidly decreased until it disappeared. Table of contents. Boom. Ding. The system beep rang. Long Fei pulled out his still bleeding fist and roared fiercely again. "Fuck! Who else?" Chapter 38_8419/2356738. If you want to be crazy, go all out. If you want to be crazy, go all out. A series of beatings. Without mentioning anything else, Long Fei was about to level up again. Right now, he was hoping for a few more people to help him break through to War Master Level 2. However, there was actually no one coming down from the stands. Long Fei walked in front of the dwarf and said, "Did I win?" The dwarf smiled and said, "Not yet." Long Fei asked with some doubt. Why? The dwarf continued to smile and said, because there are still people in this arena, you did not win. Our rule is that only the last person in the arena will win. Long Fei smiled and stared at the dwarf. You are also included? The dwarf also looked at Long Fei and laughed coldly recently. And then he walked to the side of the pool and dripped a drop of his blood into the pool. Of course, he sneered. Huh. The entire audience was in an uproar. Wasn't he the host? He also participated in the hegemony. Long Fei walked towards the dwarf. The dwarf looked at the sneer on Long Fei's face that was filled with contempt and said, Brat, you're about to die. Oh. Long Fei trembled slightly. The dwarf still had a smile of contempt on his face, but the moment Long Fei got close to the pond's edge, he suddenly roared out, Bite him to death. The entire audience was stunned. The scarecrow and the dryad were suddenly excited. Big brother dwarf, let the tiger shark bite him to death. Ha ha ha. Near the pool, you are courting death. Do you know why he fell into the pool and didn't die? Because those tiger shark were all trained by him, and every single one of them are his killers. Ha ha. He was very clear about everything here, and he was also clear on the power of the dwarves. With Long Fei being so close, even a peak expert of the War Emperor would be dragged into the water by the tiger shark. At that time, he would be torn to shreds and turned into a pool of blood. However, they weren't finished laughing. There was no reaction at all from the pool. Long Fei stood there with his arms crossed and lightly smiled. Let the tiger shark bite me? Come on, keep biting me. The dwarf's face darkened as he coldly said, You dog, don't be too arrogant. With that, he dripped a dozen or so drops of blood essence into the pool. Long Fei laughed faintly. I am truly sorry. I am just so arrogant. Letting the tiger shark bite me. Come, quickly come and bite me. There was no movement from the surface of the water. There was not a single tiger shark left that had previously swam about. The dwarf's face changed greatly as he said, That's impossible. How could it be like this? Where did they go? It was also at this time. Long Fei slapped him. You'll know when you get down. Pa! The dwarf was flipped over and fell into the pool. Boom! Gulp! The group of tiger sharks were like madmen as they directly sent the dwarf flying. They bit off all 4 of their limbs and spurted out blood, which then sank into the pond and created a huge splash. Then, a pool of blood appeared. This time, he really died. Long Fei laughed disdainfully. What are you being cocky for? Give me more cocky. What's going on? Why would those tiger shark listen to him? Something's wrong. Something's wrong. It was also at this time. Lin Yusheng slowly emerged from the water and stood on the body of a tiger shark and said, There are piles of bones below, and all of their space ring were taken away. This beast battling arena is a huge conspiracy. I think the God Emperor Academy quota is also fake. Long Fei frowned. His gaze shifted as he stared at the dark corner of the arena. Wahahaha! I never thought that the people from the God's Water Tribe would actually appear in the Yuling Island. They are extremely rare, truly rare. While they were talking, a chair was slowly pushed out from the darkness. There was a person sitting on the chair, a man in his 50s. The man's face was gloomy. Its 2 eyes were staring at Long Fei as if it wanted to kill its father. Long Fei didn't pay attention to anything else, but there was a strange feather sticking out of the man's head. The feather was glowing with a rainbow of colors, appearing extremely strange. Yen, Huang ancestor, immediately said, Feather of the spirit. Long Fei's heart sank. Are you talking about the feather on the man's head? Not with me. But the feather that grew on his head, he should be a demon beast that, cultivated to a human form, He is very strong. You have to be careful." As soon as Yen Huang ancestor finished speaking, Long Fei immediately opened up the system and smiled. "Ha ha, boss." 6 people walked out from behind the man, the pot-bellied slave masters, the scrawny one-eyed men, and a few strange-looking men all had one thing in common. His aura was like that of a demon, a very powerful aura. It should be the men from the demon beastess that came out. It was just that the man on the chair had the strongest cultivation. He did not have any of the demon beast's aura on him. Long Fei said, excitedly, "A group of, how many levels will I be able to level up this way?" Demon beastess that could cultivate human bodies were not simple. If it wasn't simple, then the experience would naturally be high. That was great. What he lacked right now was experience. He still had 2 years' time. If Long Fei wanted to appear in the Heaven Sect with absolute power, he had to break through the War Emperor realm. However, the War Emperor realm was not Long Fei's goal at all. His target was the War God, the War King. He wanted to crush Hong Tianjuan's *T out. Experience was important, very important. Seeing the excitement on Long Fei's face, the island master coldly said, "Dragon Salyer, I finally met another person from the Long family." Long Fei laughed. "Seems like the people from Long family left a deep impression on you." Disabled person, "Your legs were probably crippled by the Long family?" Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, the slave owner's voice sank, shouting, "You're courting death." With a fierce light in his eyes, the fat on his stomach shook as he stared at Long Fei with killing intent. It could be seen that he also hated the people of Long family to the bone. The island master chuckled and said, "You're right, I was crippled by the Long family. You should be very familiar with Long Zhanting, right? A dozen years ago, you were almost exactly the same as him." "He's not your father, is he?" Long Fei was shocked. "Father!" He called out, "Naturally." He had once promised his grandfather that he would definitely find his father and bring him back, but this past year, he didn't have any news about his father at all. When the island master said this, his heart immediately tightened. Could it be that father went to Immortal Domain? Long Fei did not show it, and said with a bland smile, "That is the senior of our Long family. Is the lesson he taught you not enough? Kid, you must be tired of living. #half/float*life. The owner of the slave couldn't hold it in anymore. Long Fei was too arrogant. He took a step forward. In the air, the slave owner growled, and his body transformed crazily, revealing half of his beast body. It was incomparably terrifying. Chapter 48_8419/2356739. Roar, roar. A strange roar was heard. A sinister bone was exposed on his back, covered with poisonous thorns. With a flip in the air, the poisonous thorns fell from the sky. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Long Fei's eyes slightly rose as he said, "I'm not tired of living, but you must be tired of living. You want to compete in poison with me?" Long Fei blocking the poison thorns that shot down explosively. His body charged forward, and then crushed the orb that was the commander of the Een snake, swiftly refining it. Secret skill. Poison. The true chi surged, and the poisonous gas was released. The poison of the Een snake was extremely strong. Adding on the poison from the Een snake S, it was even sharper than before. The master of the slave was breathing a little bit, and his whole body was trembling, cold, and pale. Long Fei's footsteps were like a mirage. He rushed forward quickly and rushed to the side of the slave owner, saying, "Die." In that instant, the slave owner's fat stomach straightened. He suddenly hugged Long Fei and rushed into the pond. Rumble! Water splashed everywhere. At this moment, The body of the slave master was fully revealed. It was a prehistoric fish monster, with a body like a puffer fish. Its belly and back were full of poisonous thorns. In the water, he hugged Long Fei and laughed out loud. "You dare to be arrogant with me? Ha ha ha. Now go to hell." He was indeed poisoned. However, he was also a level-up demon beast, so the power that he had released in that instant was something that Long Fei had never expected. Moreover, at the bottom of the lake, the slave owner crazily struck out. Power of the flood dragon, break. Boom. A sinking. Move. The water ripples were like a shock wave as they struck at Long Fei's chest. Long Fei's body sank, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Lin Yoxing's gaze tensed up as both his hands quickly formed a seal. The power of heavenly water. Without waiting for him to finish, the island master waved his finger and said, "Kill." God's water tribe died yesterday. I didn't expect there would be another survivor today. Ha ha ha. Lin Yoxing's gaze darkened. He stopped his hand seals and asked, "What did you say?" The island master smiled coldly and said, "You still don't know? Ha ha ha. Your God's water tribe has already been exterminated by me. You're the only survivor in the entire God's water tribe. Ha ha." Lin Yoxing's body started to tremble. Impossible. Impossible. There are many strong warriors in the God's water tribe. In the demon sea, no one can destroy our God's water tribe. The island master smiled coldly and said, "Don't worry. You will understand when you meet your clansmen after you die. The God's water tribe should not exist in this world. They deserve to die. If not for Long Zhanting, your God's water tribe would already be dead. You have lived for 10 more years, and you would already be considered lucky." Suddenly, the island master saw that Lin Yoxing suddenly opened his eyes and laughed. "You should be the genius Lin Yoxing that the God's water tribe has high hopes for, right? Ha ha ha. A few days ago, you failed the examination, causing your family's last hope to be shattered. It was also at that time that my merfolk army massacred your God's water tribe, and blood flowed like rivers for 3 days and 3 nights, just like how you guys destroyed our merfolk." The island lord laughed wildly. Lin Yoxing's body was trembling. Thinking back to the patriarch's expression, why did he expel him from the Heavenly Water clan? At this moment, his teeth chattered. Anger spewed out like a volcano. With his 2 eyes staring at the island master on the chair, Lin Yoxing's murderous intent rose. The island master smirked and said, "How does it feel to have your family wiped out? It must be great. Ha ha. You last son of a B***TCH. You shall die too." Lin Yoxing could not hold it in anymore. He took a step forward. The sea water below his feet condensed into a flood dragon. The flood dragon roared and rushed towards the island master. "I will kill you." "You." The island master's body moved as he pointed at the sleigh and directly pierced through Lin Yoxing's chest. Walala! The flood dragon beneath his feet shattered, and he also dropped down from the sky. Bam! Bang! Upon smashing to the ground, Lin Yoxing spat out a mouthful of blood. The island master disdainfully said, "Not even a single strike." At this moment, the one-eyed man with bones as thin as firewood walked out from behind the island master, coldly laughed, and dragged him up. Lin Yoxing's thigh jumped into the pond and asked, "Aren't you God's water tribe? Aren't you the strongest in the water? Aren't you the fusion expert of the heavenly strength and the water force? Today, I will let you experience the power of the Murlocs." Bang! 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 After receiving heavy blows again and again, Lin Yoxing's heart ached as if he had died. It was as if he did not feel any of the attacks coming at him. The God's water tribe was exterminated. God's water tribe was exterminated. Because of me. It's because I'm useless. I failed the examination. It's because of me. Lin Yoshing's heart crumbled. At this time, his fighting strength had dropped to 0. He no longer wanted to live, and all his clansmen had died because of him. I'm sorry. Lin Yusheng closed his eyes. At this moment, he was not a match for Lin Yusheng in the water, and when he saw that Lin Yusheng was heavily injured, his heart sank even more. Mountain Sea Scripture, Beast Transformation System. Activate. Buzz. Beast Transmogrification. Roar. With an angry roar, Long Fei immediately transformed into the Imperial Claw. With a swipe of its huge tail, it directly grabbed the slave owner and ferociously roared, "You are awesome in the water, right? I'll kill you just the same." He swung out his tail with all his might. Whoosh! The slave owner shot out like a cannonball, smashing heavily into the magic circle of the beast fighting arena. Bam! He landed on the stage, smashing his body and spitting out blood. The power of the Imperial Claws exploded outwards. The huge monster scared that skinny one-eyed man, so much that his face sank. Before he could react, it fiercely hit him and sent him flying. Long Fei did not pursue him. He rushed to the bottom of the pond and lifted Lin Yusheng up. The idea entered his sea of consciousness and said, "Brat, do you want to take revenge?" Lin Yusheng was extremely weak, and she begged for death with all her heart as she said, "All of my clansmen are dead. What is the meaning of me living? They died for you. They used death to protect you and make you rise. If you continue to fall like this, even if you die, will you be able to face your people? You bear the heavy responsibility of rising up the entire race. Do you want to die here?" Long Fei roared. At this moment, whoosh whoosh, whoosh whoosh, asterisk the 5 voices sounded. The island master was also among them. He stared at the Ao Huang coldly and said with a sneer, "I didn't think you could transform into a beast. The power of the Long family is strong again. Then all the more reason for you to die." Bang, bang, bang. Shock waves burst out from the water, colliding with the Ao Huang body. He was nailed to the wall of the pond. Again and again. Long Fei did not resist. He only used his body to firmly protect Lin Yusheng. He wanted to use his own blood to awaken the power in Lin Yusheng's body. Bang, bang, bang. For the mission, Long Fei was really going all out. After half an hour, he was bombarded for half an hour. Suddenly, Lin Yusheng raised his eyes and looked at the gigantic Ao Gu Emperor. He knew that this was Long Fei and said slightly, "What are you doing? I really don't have a foundation." Long Fei said strenuously, "I'm not gay either, but I love you." Suddenly, http:// Lin Yosheng's eyes closed slightly as a white lotus rose from his abdomen. Yan Huang ancestor's heart tightened as he asked doubtfully, "What kind of power is this? I have never seen it before." "The heavens do not disappoint those who care. If you don't wake up soon, I'm going to die." Long Fei grinned and said, "I know. The First Generation Water, Shadow, by Lien." Chapter 5. Thank you, Lin Yusheng, for your strong firepower support, and thank you, brothers, for your monthly tickets. I am extremely grateful. 8_8419/2356740. The First Generation Water Shadow by Lien. The First Generation Water Shadow by Lien. This was naturally something that Long Fei had fabricated. The Shadow Fire world was Fire Shadow time, and this was the place. The alternate world Long Fei was currently in was a real world. If he hadn't comprehended beyond the heavens, coupled with the love in his heart, he wouldn't have been able to comprehend what belonged to another world. However, the power that came out of Lin Yoshing's body was indeed shockingly terrifying. One flower, one world. My world, Lin Yusheng slowly said. Water world. Rumble. As soon as he finished speaking, the aura within his body abruptly changed, like a dam had collapsed and a myriad of torrents had poured out. A fishman demon beast charged forward, striking Long Fei in the back. Lin Yoshing's eyes flashed, and he laughed. I'll do it. As soon as he finished, the figure disappeared, and in an instant, the fishman was sent flying. Instant kill. Huh. Damn, that was my experience. Long Fei felt a burst of bitterness in his heart, but immediately said, Don't be so ruthless. Just hit him until he's only left with half a breath. A sudden explosion. It caused the island master to be slightly astonished. He looked at Lin Yusheng and laughed faintly. The White Lotus is in your body. Ha! It seems like the heavens really are not unkind to me. Lin Yusheng stared at the island master and said, Today I want to avenge my people. You, Humph, you're not qualified. The power of the White Lotus is only the tip of the iceberg. Your current strength. As soon as he finished, the island master's figure suddenly disappeared. Amidst the waves, a voice rang out, You can't even withstand a single blow. Boom. The sound of an intense collision rang out. Waves of water shot up to the sky as the huge waves continuously crashed against the array boundary, causing it to tremble. What happened? Are those two dead now? I never thought that the island master of the Yuling Island would be a fishman. Those two brats must be dead. His voice was deafening. However, Lin Yusheng stood in place without moving because in front of him was a person who was carrying a dragon salyer on his shoulder, holding onto a god's devil blade, and holding onto a blade in his mouth. It exploded in his mouth. 3-blade stream blocked the island master's attack. Looking at Long Fei's back figure, he tightly clenched his fists and couldn't help but say, So strong. Long Fei smiled. Slightly. Do you know why Long Zhaning only crippled your feet back then? The island lord's expression was ugly as he said with a gloomy tone, Why? Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he smiled. Because he left your life for me to kill. Lin, water. Lin Yusheng was startled and said, Long Fei said heavily, Get out of the water. The idea moved. Once again being blasted into the water, the lightning wrapped around him and the crackling sounds of explosions could be heard. He rolled his eyes and died. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing fishmen, for obtaining 1 experience point, true chi point, energy values point, and contending for hegemony point. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, War Master level, level 2. Ha ha! It leveled up. Long Fei secretly laughed in his heart, and his smile became even more vulgar as he said, Come out again. If you come out, I'll blow your ass. Boom, boom, boom. 3 voices rushed out together. Brat, hand over your life. Long Fei yelled, 1 for you, 2 for me. As soon as he finished, Long Fei grinned. You dare to fly in the air? Ha ha! Dragon chop. Shwa. Long Fei immediately flew out. The dark dragon salyer crazily beheaded them. This time it was the 2 of them together, and it did not give them any chance to escape. Bam. Bam. Is it good? They did not have much HP left from being electrocuted. So once they rushed out, they were immediately chopped to death by Long Fei's blades. This time, Lin Yusheng also followed Long Fei's instructions and beat him up to the point where he only released his fist after taking his last breath. Long Fei immediately followed up. 1/kill. 3 notifications sounded. Long Fei landed on the stage and looked around. Just then, Long Fei saw the scarecrow and the tree spirit slip away, stealthily. His brows twitched as he shouted, "You too want to escape? I will find you at the ends of the earth." Table of contents. They were the ones who were tricked by these two. However, now, Long Fei didn't have the heart to deal with them, but coldly looked at the water surface and laughed coldly. "Disabled one, you're the only one left. Come out and meet me." Chapter 18_8419/2356741. That you're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.